This is a regular meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority. It's May 24th, 2017. Present today in New York City are Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Ford, General Counsel Riano, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Held, and myself, Secretary Donahue. The next meetings of the authority will be, and this is a change, June 8th, not June 7th, so it'll be a Thursday, June 21st, and then we're taking a 3-week break. We'll be back on July 12th. If you have any cell phones, please turn them off before you come up here. We're going to call up matters, for the most part, in the items that they are assigned in, first in Buffalo, then in Albany, and then in New York City. Before we proceed to the regular list of items, I believe the chairman has a matter to address.
Thanks. It's come to my attention that one of our longtime employees, Donna Pisani, is retiring very soon, effective May 31st. She's actually not here today to accept this award. I don't know whether she knew it was coming and didn't want to
I'm sure it
come
was
in
planned.
public. But I'm going to ask Juan Herrera to come up, who was her supervisor, and say a few words and accept the award on her behalf. No, you're going to say a few words first. Say some nice things.
Well, first of all, thank you, Chairman. Donna was an excellent employee. Without a doubt, the first one in. She would be in like 7 in the morning, sit at her desk, knock the work out. Just a great, great example of someone that's truly dedicated. Obviously, she will be missed. And she actually had a couple of days to burn, so that's why she's not here.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and obviously, you know, what can we say? She'll be missed, and hopefully we'll be able to get someone that's half as good, because she was really, really.
A lot of years of service.
Absolutely.
She had for us.
Okay, so I'm going to read from the plaque that we're going to present to her, or that I'm going to have you present to her next time she's in. Whereas Donna Pisani began working for the authority in October 1992, and throughout her career with the authority, Donna Pisani has consistently displayed a sense of optimism and enthusiasm for her work. And it is hereby resolved on behalf of ourselves and the entire staff of the authority that we hereby acknowledge the exemplary service of Donna Pisani to this agency and extend to her our sincere appreciation for her many years of service to the state of New York, and more specifically to the authority, and extend to her our best wishes for a healthy, fulfilling, and long-lived retirement. It's signed by Commissioner Ford and myself with a seal, and it will be entered into the minutes as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And please send her my regards as well.
We'll miss you, Donna.
You have anything else before we move forward?
Nope.
All right. All right, the first item is going to be in Albany. I'm sorry, New York City, you're right. It's a request from the Office of Counsel. It's item number 1127I regarding Moose Lounge Incorporated. It's a request for emergency order of summary suspension.
Mr. Lacertosa. Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Bradley and Commissioner Ford. I'm Jared Lacertosa, an attorney in counsel's office, and we are recommending that this body institute an emergency order of summary suspension against Moose Lounge, Inc., serial number 1252237, doing business as the Station Pub in Shirley, New York. And we are making this recommendation after it has come to our attention of there have been recent instances of disorder and violence inside and around the Station Pub that's keeping with this premise's long adverse history with this agency. So by way of background, this premise is located on 534 William Floyd Parkway in Shirley, New York, Suffolk County, and it is important to note that this premise occupies one storefront in a strip mall style structure. So immediately adjacent to this establishment is a meat market, a deli, a pawn shop, and a barber shop. So those establishments are just feet away. There is a Checkers restaurant directly across the street, less than 200 feet away, an STS tire shop less than 150 feet away, and there are residential homes less than 500 feet away. It is also important to note that the sole licensee of record is a Charan Kahor. He is the only licensee of record. And I just want to direct your attention briefly, turning to page 4 of the packets that are in front of you, of several recent instances of violence that are emblematic of what the Station Pub's management has tolerated over the last year and a half. So on March 11th, 2016, there was a verbal altercation that began inside the establishment. It spilled outside of the establishment, grew in number from 2 people to multiple parties, and during that incident, a victim was slashed with a broken bottle. He was able to flee the scene and ran into a Dunkin' Donuts across the street, where an employee of Dunkin' Donuts called 911, as opposed to the management of Station Pub, which had clear knowledge of the altercation that had begun inside the establishment. So that is the first incident I wanted to direct your attention to. The second occurred on December the 2nd of 2016, so several months ago, wherein there was a bottle throwing incident where 2 female parties engaged in a verbal altercation. A male patron, not security, not management, attempted to break up that altercation. He was then struck with a bottle in the forehead and had to be transported to Brookhaven Memorial Hospital. One of the other parties, one of the female parties, was also struck with a bottle and sustained a deep laceration to her thumb. And a third bottle was thrown at the television inside the establishment, breaking that TV. So you have 2 injuries and damage to property inside the establishment. The third incident I want to direct your attention to occurred on April 24th of this year, where there was another stabbing at approximately 3:20 a.m. Suffolk County Police were called to the establishment for reports of a stabbing victim. Upon arrival in front of the establishment, a victim presented stab wounds to his arm. The altercation occurred inside, and the manager of the premise, alleged manager of the premise, Mr. Singh, was listed as incapacitated and unavailable to speak with police. And I also want to note that, again, that incident that stemmed from inside the establishment, the 911 call actually came from the Dunkin' Donuts across the street for the second time. They literally looked across the street and saw what was going on immediately outside of this establishment and called 911. And the fourth incident I want to direct your attention to occurred just on May 6th of this year, where there was a large congregation of people, 40 to 50 people, in the parking lot of the establishment at approximately 2:10 a.m. Suffolk County Police, which has finite resources, had to respond with 9 Suffolk County Police units. Upon arrival, the police were able to break up the situation before it delved into violence. However, upon entering into the establishment to conduct an investigation, they were encountered by an individual by the name of Paramjit Singh. Mr. Singh is not licensed by this agency. However, he has identified himself to police as the owner of the establishment on multiple occasions. He said that it was his establishment, and upon police entering, he obstructed their investigation, saying that they had no right to enter, even though the establishment was still open. He was extremely uncooperative. He called a Suffolk County PD lieutenant a piece of shit, pardon my French. He instructed his employees not to cooperate with the investigation by withholding records that the police requested to inspect, thereby obstructing their investigation. And police also noted a very strong odor of marijuana inside the premise. There was also a live musical performance that night that police observed the musicians packing up, and the premise is not licensed for live music. And this is on top of the adverse history that this premise has with our agency, including suffering or permitting disorder on November 6th of last year, wherein 12 gunshots were fired in the vicinity of the premise. They have also submitted guilty pleas for false material statements and for being a non-bona fide establishment. So what you have here is a clear threat to the public safety and to the welfare of the businesses and the individuals that reside in and around this establishment, and there is a clear rational basis for this agency to impose an emergency summary suspension.
Thank you, counsel. Have you had any contact at all with Sharan Kaur, who's the licensee principal of record?
I have not. I did speak with a lieutenant in the Suffolk County PD who responded to several of these instances. He is intimately familiar with Mr. Singh, who again is not on the license, is not even listed as a manager. On our paperwork, this premise would not even have a manager. He is unfamiliar. He's never heard the name Charan Kaur, who is the licensee of record. In all of his visits to the establishment, he has always been greeted by Mr. Singh, who has repeatedly identified himself as the owner of the establishment.
Do we know what became of the summons that he was issued back in December? He was issued a summons on December 2nd for permitting a disorderly premises. Do you know how that was discharged at all?
I don't know how that was discharged, Commissioner Ford. However, there was a reasonable basis, according to the police officer, to issue the summons.
Thank you.
You prepared to
Alright.
vote at this point?
What's that?
Are you prepared to vote on
Yes,
that?
absolutely, yes. In light of the fact that this has become a police focal point, I mean, they've been there 6 times in 2017 already.
Yes.
11 times 2016. This license has already paid $25,000 in fines in less than a year and a half. And the management appears to be completely uncooperative with the police, telling employees not to cooperate with them.
Correct.
Calling them names, telling them you don't have a right to enter, so forth and so on. Stabbings, fightings, I mean, what else do we need? So I vote to vote for the emergency summary order of suspension.
I vote for the summary order as well, based on the escalating violence in a residential area, and it's obvious that the individual that either owns the place or runs the place we have no information on him whatsoever, and he's clearly being uncooperative in running the establishment, so I'll vote to summarily suspend.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, we don't have any items in Buffalo, so we're going to move to Albany. First item is 1107, 1107 Adirondack Winery LLC.
Are there any protests there?
No.
Okay. Can you put your name on the record?
Sasha Party?
And just explain to us what you want to do?
Our application is to open a satellite tasting room of our winery, Adirondack Winery, in Bolton Landing, New York.
Satellite tasting or selling out of it also?
Well, it's a satellite store license, so as a tasting room, we do tasting and sales.
And you realize you can only sell New York State labeled products out of this?
Yes, we own our winery and we only sell our winery's wine.
But it's only the wine that's made 100% from New York grapes.
Are all your wines made with New York grapes?
We are a commercial winery and not a farm winery. So, no, not all of our products are 100% New York grapes.
Then you won't be able to sell those wines at the satellite store. The satellite store is only for New York, for product that meets the definition of New York State labeled wines.
Yes, we have many New York State with labeled wines.
Okay, so you realize you're not going to be able to sell all of your products out of there, though?
Well, I can't say that I was aware of that.
Well, that's why I don't want to give you
So
this
you're
unless you're
telling me
fully
now-
aware of it. Do you want to adjourn this and consult with us over the next 2 weeks to find out exactly whether this is what you want?
Well, we have plenty of New York State labeled wines, so that would be acceptable if that was the case.
Okay. Because okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said okay, as long as you understand what the limits are, because if someone comes in and checks, it's going to cost you a lot of money if you're not doing what the license allows.
Well, I have to say that I was not aware of this, and we,
Well, so then why don't we do this, because I'm not really comfortable giving it to you unless you know that you actually can utilize it the way you want to. So why don't we adjourn this for 2 weeks? You call our licensing division, and they'll explain to you exactly what you can do with this license. And then,
Well, I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same license that we have applied for. Should I pull out my
well,
paperwork?
it's a new satellite wine store is what you've applied for.
Yes, okay, so you have that record
But
there.
the law only allows you to sell New York State labeled wines, which means they're made with New York grapes.
Okay, that is not something I was aware of.
Okay, so why don't you take 2 weeks, and we'll put it on for the 7th, is it the
Eighth.
7th? 8th, I'm sorry. And call our licensing bureau during that period of time and decide whether you want to go forward with it or not. Because at
Okay,
least
so-
you'll get a refund if you don't.
We would be rescheduled for June 8th, is what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay,
because once we give it, you don't get the refund.
okay.
That'll give you a chance to, right, make
If
sure
they
this
surrender
works
it,
for
they'll
you
get
or
a
not, all
refund.
right?
Oh, with whatever's left, right. But, well, why don't you call our licensing just to make sure this is what you want?
Okay.
So June 8th.
Yep, you're all set. Next item is 1119 Benway Enterprises, Inc.
Or is there someone they can talk to now, Jackie?
Yeah, they can. It doesn't, don't worry about it, we'll call them.
Good morning, Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Ford, members of the board. Good morning. My name is Sean May. I'm here this morning with the licensee principal, Robert Downs. This is a conditional no contest offer on a number of liquor authority violations. I've submitted a statement in mitigation. It's a $6,000 offer, Chairman, and as can be seen by our statement in mitigation, the bar area, the problem here is we're closing. We're closing it. We're not moving forward with this method of operation. Mr. Downs is also the landlord of the building. He's got a new tenant that's going to come in. It's going to be an arts center, kind of like a paint and sip situation. We just want to assure the board that these issues will not occur again in the future. The reason we're submitting the offer is we're going to move the main license, which is down on the lower level. We're going to move it upstairs to where there's an ad bar license currently, and we're going to close this operation.
But there's a lot of assaults here, altercations. I don't know, I mean,
2016 was not a good year. The place has been open since '93.
I'm very familiar with it. I live about 15 miles from there, and in my younger years, I used to go to the Cabolusas.
So you know what? It ends up being an
When I
ad-
say I'm very familiar with it, I realize that this is not an anomaly.
Yeah, right. Well, the logistics of the location and the fact that it opens into an alleyway and the issues with getting people cleared out of the bar without police help, it's just not sustainable.
So I'll take 8,000. I don't know where
Even though-
Commissioner Ford is, but it doesn't matter to me that you're closing, because
That we're closing.
I know New Paltz, it's a college town, I'm very familiar with New Paltz, the police have enough problems as it is, and they certainly don't need this kind of problem, and whether you're still open or not, at least the other bars that are open in New Paltz will get this message.
Statement.
I
close it, so either way, it's fine.
Yeah, I'll go with 8,000 as well. So it looks like you guys had a bad string from May to November for eight times, but sounds like this is not all that there really is, so 8,000.
It is what it is. Well, we accept that offer.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Leave Albany up there for a second, okay?
Okay.
Chairman, it's okay, I'm just going to keep the link to Albany open for a few minutes. We've got an intern watching things.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to, Alex, you can stay and watch for a few minutes, all right?
Okay, thanks.
We're going to go to New York City now, and the first item is 1084, New York Food and Drink, Inc.
Good morning, everyone. Robert Romano. I'm here with Mr. and Ms. Shah, the principals of New York NY Food and Drink, Inc. This is a reconsideration request. Their application was denied because while they had a temporary permit, they had a temporary employee of theirs served a minor.
The employee gone?
Gone immediately.
Why does he have games in the place, like pool tables and electronic
I believe
games?
it had been there. They're no longer,
It was there before, no more.
All the games are gone?
All his game is gone.
And is it a grocery store?
Yes, grocery convenience store.
You have grocery items in the store?
Yes, sir. I have some picture if you want.
He does have pictures of the premise if you'd like to see, as well as he has another location, as I pointed out in my request, since 2000.
All right, I'm okay with this, since he paid the fine, but he needs to get scanners and everybody has to take ATAP.
I'll tell you afterwards. You'll agree.
So I'll grant reconsideration and then approve.
Ditto.
Thank you very much. Just wait for me. Okay. Thank you.
Next item is 1100 Murray Superette, Inc.
Robert Romano again, on behalf of the licensee, Murray Superette Incorporated. We have submitted an offer, which at first glance might seem excessive at $8,500. I believe counsel's office requested that figure due to the nature of the felony charge that the principal had. He has received a full certificate of relief of disabilities. And
So what, let me ask you this, what was he getting out of this? Is he taking cash back from them, or?
Honestly, I have no idea. I do know that he worked out a deal with the state of New York, and they're paying monthly payments.
$166,000.
I understand.
Wow.
But was it just to get revenue through the store, or was he selling it at a?
This is.
I mean, usually these scams are, we buy beer, but you pay extra for it.
An educated guess is that he was making sales, that he was just increasing the sales figures by allowing those cards. But I don't have firsthand knowledge of that.
And he's on probation currently?
Yes, well, he is, he has a full relief.
Well, I mean, he's still making the.
Making payments.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think you'd get the certificate if he was still on
All right, I'll accept.
So he got relief because he's making restitution, is what you're saying?
He's making restitutions, and absolutely.
All right.
And if you can stipulate that the condition would be that he continues to stay current.
And that is a stipulation. He continues to stay making payments for me.
Accepted.
Thank you very much.
All right, the next item is 1126 JBL Ventures LLC.
Robert Romano, and I'm pleased to say I have with me Alice and Doug Spear, the owners of JBL Ventures Incorporated. We have submitted an offer of $6,000. However, I would ask as mitigating factors, this was two service to minors which occurred.
Yeah,
on the side
I'm okay, 3,500, is that good?
and considered as one. correct?
Yes.
And then I do have an.
I know Mr. Romano came in to me, and they've got the ATAP training. So what I had asked, just to, so we're all on the same page, since there's two, if that, whatever the penalty you impose, we take that into consideration, so we're not having to come back and figure out 25% of which of the penalties.
Yes, these sales were simultaneous, and it's the first sale to minor, so I'm treating it like one sale to minor, but I am jacking 500 on it, so it's 3,500, and ATAP would apply.
Great.
Well,
That's an
so
additional
you,
25% off.
that's my
Right,
question.
I know that.
It's going to be 35 plus less than 25%
Yes.
then? Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a nice day.
No, right, he's got to vote on it.
You know,
I'm used to this now. Agreed. I approved.
Sure.
Same as, we're good. All right.
I want to make sure. Thank you very much. everyone. Have a nice day.
All right, the next item is 1093. It's a request for declaratory ruling regarding a payments by Heineken through a mobile app to retailers.
I'm Kevin Dano. I'm here on behalf of Empire Merchants. I'm here in opposition, so.
Is anyone from Heineken here? What do you want to, you can either do your,
They were advised of the date.
your presentation now, or wait a little while and see if they show up.
At your pleasure, sir.
It's up to you. I'm not going to vote on it. I'm going to give them a little bit longer. They're only 15 minutes late. And they may not show up. I have no idea.
They didn't get my nasty email, so.
Okay,
We'll second call for another half hour, and
yes.
by then I'll do it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
The next item is 1108, Fine and Rare Wines and Spirits LLC.
Good morning, everybody. John Springer for the licensee. With me is Mark Mancanelli, the sole owner.
Are there any, is there any opposition? No.
This
So
is,
I have just one question. Why is he moving after only this many months?
he originally wanted to buy this old building on the National Register of Historical Places, but it was under contract. He was told by the broker that it was solid, and so he got this space down the street, which wasn't totally meeting his needs, and then that contract fell through. He snatched up the place. You see the pictures. It just aesthetically, it's going to fit. He found out he needs more room for climate control, which is very important to the rare vintages that he carries. It works in so many different ways.
And the retail part is about the same size, correct?
Yes.
Couple hundred feet
Couple hundred
bigger?
feet, yeah.
And it's only how many feet away from the old location?
157.
Okay.
I think it's kind of a cool-looking place and a great concept, so, yeah, I approve as
I
well.
approve as well.
Thank you. Have a good holiday.
The next item is 1127G, Chicano Gotham LLC. Is someone here for that? Okay.
Morning.
Good morning.
My name is Rosa Ruiz, and I'm the representative for the applicant.
Good morning. I'm Adam Powell in the matter of Chicano LLC, Gotham LLC.
I'm Leonard Camarillo, the proprietor.
And you, sir, what's your role in this?
I'm also representing the applicant.
Okay.
Along with Rosa Ruiz.
Is there any opposition here? No. Okay, go ahead.
So in the matter of Chicano Gotham LLC, this is an application for a restaurant to be closed at 1 a.m., 7 days a week. They actually won a New York Public Library grant of $15,000, beating hundreds of other applicants. And that concept was developed by the applicant, Mr. Camarillo, and looking forward to a favorable response from the board.
What music are they going to have at this place?
It'll be like Latin.
Is it DJ live?
No. It'll just be like iPod. Like
No DJ, no live music.
No live music.
Recorded.
Yeah, recorded.
Are you open now?
No.
Maximum occupancy 74?
Yes.
Still maintaining that?
Yes.
All right.
It's going to be a Mexican-themed restaurant, of which there are none in the area.
Notice the community board disagrees with you on that front. They say there are Mexican restaurants in the area. I don't know whether they're right or wrong, but I'm just telling you they
Not
disagree.
within 500 feet. We did the survey.
Well, no, there's not within 500 feet. I would agree with that. What, have you met with them regarding stipulations? And if so, what, did you come to any? And if you couldn't, why couldn't you?
He actually went to the community board meeting twice, and they turned him down, saying they just didn't want a liquor license there at all.
Because it hasn't, this building has not been licensed before.
No, but there are a couple other restaurants within that block. In fact,
Yeah, there's 25.
But in that block, this is 503 East 6th Street. There's a 513 East 6th Street, very well-known Argentinian restaurant, Buenos Aires. And so,
But I think that's what the community board's point is. There's 25 on-premise licenses within 500 feet of this place, which, on the Lower East Side, or the East Village, it gets crazy on the weekends.
right, but we went to the 500-foot hearing. We explained why this would be in the public interest. It's the only Mexican restaurant of its kind in the area. And as you know,
Well, what makes it different from the other Mexican restaurants in Manhattan?
oh, not in Manhattan, but in that area. And as you know, Community Board 3 is notorious for denying applications for,
Well,
reason.
part of the reason is because they have so many, and they don't want any more.
not Mexican,
Now, what's above this restaurant, residences?
small tenements.
Have you soundproofed the restaurant?
Community Board also made a point of saying there were too many art galleries, but this is not an art gallery. This will be a restaurant which will display art, as many other restaurants do.
Plan on displaying art as being part of your attraction? Is that the idea? Yeah. So, and how often do you turn over the art?
Well, it would just be like local artists. Like we don't make any kind of proceeds from that. It's
Yeah.
just local artists. When I originally 5 years ago, I originally put this plan together.
Yeah. Speak toward the microphone so make sure we get your testimony, please. Thank you.
So about 5 years ago, well, my family's been in the restaurant business for their whole lives. So I was taught and mentored by my family, and about 5 years ago, I wanted to open up a Chicano style restaurant, which is a subset of Mexican cuisine. So I created a menu and I created this concept, and with that, I wanted to give an ambiance and project little Latin art with that. And then I created a business plan. I set the business plan in motion and I brought it to the New York Public Libraries. And lo and behold, I won first place. And they liked the concept, they liked the food, they liked the ambiance that I was going to give. And in 2014, yeah, they granted me, and they said that it would be like they think it would be a great addition to the to the neighborhood, to the community, being that Lower East Side did have a lot of, back in the days, it was a very artistic and area. So I thought Lower East Side would be perfect for this.
Okay.
What were some of the restaurants your family owned? Were they in Manhattan?
One of them was in Manhattan, Florencia 13, which is Bonnaroo Blue Industries, and
Is that still open or no?
No, they closed a few years ago due to a rent increase, but they were really popular and no complaints. My father's here; he can kind of speak on that if you have any questions.
What are you managing this place?
I was managing.
No, are you going to manage this one?
Yes, yes.
And you're not hiring any managers? It's going to be you?
No, it would just be me. Correct. Sorry.
Your hours. What are you looking for here? Looks like,
Well, I want to. I would start out at 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. Monday through Friday, and then on the Saturday and Sunday, I'd open up for brunch. If it gets going, we'd like to open up every day at 12 noon. So we want to really bring a lunch crowd into business. Yeah, but definitely we want to kick off the brunch, and that's what we're really excited about. Because the last restaurant at Florencia, we didn't have brunch.
would you still be closing at 1?
Yes.
Generally, there's not issues with places open earlier. It's usually one that's still open later that people object to, so.
Exactly.
All right.
And again, it bears repeating that he won this $15,000 grant from the.
Well, I don't think anybody's questioning his method of operation. I think we're questioning, at least I'm questioning the location. It's never been licensed. The community board is, while they're not here, so I guess they're not actively protesting it, they made it clear that they don't approve of putting a license there, which I have to take into account. But I mean, I have no issue with the method of operation. He clearly has experience, so.
Yep. All right. Even though they're saying there's 25 licensed establishments, at the 500-foot hearing, I submitted a report that actually showed that quite a those few establishments are closed, and they did not surrender their liquor license, their liquor license with the authority.
Which, such
So
as?
509 East 6th Street is closed, which is Red Malbec LLC.
Literally a couple of doors down, but it's closed.
Three Beans Inc. is closed. That's at 93 Avenue A, which is another establishment. 85 Avenue A is closed. Arrow 85 Associates.
Were these all establishments that were listed on the?
Yes,
Okay.
but they're closed after doing some thorough research. So while there are other establishments, a lot of them don't serve the community with serving any type of Mexican cuisine. A lot of them is American pub food or Cuban food, Argentinian food. There's nothing of this nature within that
Did you say
vicinity.
the closest one was closed?
They're all closed.
Yeah. No, the closest one to where you're opening, you're
Yes,
saying
it's closed.
All right.
There's actually graffiti all over the building now.
So can you live with 12 o'clock during the week and 1 o'clock on the weekends? For at least a period of time? Okay.
I'm willing to approve based on just iPod type of music. I'm impressed with the way your character comes across, sir. I think you'll be a good licensee. And the hours 4 to 12, Monday through Friday. No, I'm sorry, Sunday. No, what day's Monday through Thursday?
Commissioner, are you just going to impose conditions on the closing hours, or are you going to impose conditions on the starting hours as well?
We just limit it to the closing.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So during the week,
I could be till 12,
4 to 12,
4 to 12.
and weekends,
Weekends would be
12 to
Friday
12.
and Saturday would be
12 to 12.
12 to 12.
So
No, no,
just
12 to, I'll give him 12 to 1 on the weekend.
12 to 1 on the weekends.
On the weekends, correct.
There you go.
But what if he wants to open earlier? Do I have to file any?
Yeah,
amendments?
I'm not concerned about when you open, so why don't
Okay.
we say 12 to 12 during the week and 12 to 1 on the weekends, Friday and Saturday. And then if
Great.
you don't open at 12,
Fair enough.
no DJ, this is all going to be stipulated on the license. No DJs, no live music, no promoters.
No velvet ropes.
Food has to be available at all hours. That's it. You say you got soundproofing,
Yes.
that's, can you send something in just to prove it? Do you have like a bill or something?
I kind of I did that myself when I would put the ceiling in. They-
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, then I'm going to hold you to it.
Okay.
That's it, Jackie.
All right.
And Commissioner Ford, you're all set with those?
Yes. Yep.
Good luck.
Great,
luck.
thank you.
And I do want to make it clear on the record that the ALJ did find that this was in the public interest based on the 500-foot hearing, and I'm agreeing with him on that.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you.
Good day.
Same here.
Thank you.
All right, the next item we have is 1091. This is also a request for declaratory ruling regarding location at 168 First Avenue in Manhattan regarding the 200-foot law.
Good morning. Neil Vasaki for the applicants. Hope everybody's doing well today. I tried to put in as much information that I could get from the public documents and some other information. This is a situation that I believe that basically from the early 1900s up and through December 31st of 2014, the place was continuously licensed.
So my only question was, when it was closed, it never had anything else in it. It was always either licensed or shut.
Yes, that's correct. 12/31 of 2014 is when the license had expired, and according to my clients, they're telling me that the restaurant remained open up until September, October of 2016.
All right, so I'll, based on that, I'll say that the building, I'll find that the building has been continuously licensed, and is it a mosque?
Yes.
The mosque was not there prior to the licenses, so it's grandfathered in under the 200-foot law.
And I'll just only add to that, that the president of the mosque gave you a letter of approval as well, of support. So I'm pretty impressed with that. So I vote to approve as well.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right.
See you guys outside. Chairman, I have one disciplinary. I don't know if we'll be able to.
Is that on there, Tom?
All right, the next items I have 1101 through 1103.
What's your
Alina
disciplinary?
Zabala.
01113. Maybe if I'd be lucky enough to hear that now.
Did you sign that one in?
I signed in and my client signed in, yes.
What is it again?
01113 B&M Hot Bagel and Grocery Inc.
Boy, 5 times in 2.5 years.
Yeah, can I,
Everything was fine since, what, 1996, and all of a sudden,
I have my client here, would you like?
yeah, bring him up.
So why,
So-
I just want to ask, why did these all come at once? Referral, or?
It's possible.
So what happened here, nuisance abatement, and
No, I don't, there was a nuisance, there was a nuisance abatement. Yeah, there was actually a nuisance abatement. My client, he himself has had the license for just short of 22 years. You know, they're a real staple in the community. I know the bagel store. It's right in the middle of, well, it's on Giffords Lane, but it's generally a residential neighborhood, so they're very popular over there. They haven't had any.
I don't question
problems.
that, I just question
Yeah,
what he's doing about,
Well, I'll tell you what he's doing. When I had him come into my office, just short of May 5th, I explained to him that basically, you know, there seemed to have been like 3 pretty much in a row. And, you know, you had a great track record of what happened. And he basically explained to me that he's always hired, you know, people who he thought to be, you know, very responsible people. He's always instructed them to check ID for cigarettes and beer. And there was a period of time where 3 were in a row. He tells me that he had no knowledge of those summonses at that time because I guess these workers are not going to necessarily bring to the attention the summonses to their boss in fear of getting fired. Those 3 individuals, in fact, do not work there presently. I told them.
does he have a scanner?
And then I told them basically to take the ATAP certificate, but this.
So I'll accept this, but you got to get a scanner, which is going to cost you another,
He'll get a scanner.
and it's going to be part of the license, that you have to have a scanner, which means if we come in and check and you don't have it, you're in violation. You get a period of time to get it, but,
Knock that off to 10,000. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, and I'll take the 10,000.
Yeah, take 10,000. I think the scanner will keep you from coming here again.
Because this is a gift, usually on the 4th one, we take it.
Yeah.
I understand, thank you.
All right?
Okay, thank you. Have a
See
nice
ya.
day.
You're welcome.
All right, the next item, 1101 through 1103, Alina Zabala.
For the licensee, Marcotti and Associates by Louis Chisari. Good morning, Your Honors. We made a CNC of $5,000.
Yeah. I'm going to counter at 10. I mean, you have a DJ, which he's not supposed to have. You have a woman who hit a guy in the head with a bottle in the place, they don't call 911.
Well, we actually,
The manager hit a patron in the face and got arrested for it.
well, that was an assault. We actually didn't go to hearings on those. We made these offers instead of going to
No,
hearings.
I know, your offer's 5,000 though for all of these, and I can't do it. With the, and plus an unlicensed cabaret, which tells me that on the date before they got caught with the DJ, they were having a DJ anyway. So, you know, I'll take 10.
Could we do 7,500? Would you consider?
I'll do 9. That's as low as I'll go.
Okay.
They're about since 2001. Yeah, 9,000.
Thank you.
All right, so are you accepting that? You have to go
Yes,
back to your
yeah,
client.
yes, we're accepting the
All right,
9,000.
thanks.
Thank you.
Next item is 1069, Billy Balls Management LLC.
Does he still have security guards?
Yes, he does. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. He does.
Did you put your name on the record? I'm sorry.
I didn't. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Commissioner, Counsel, and Deputy Commissioner. Michael Ferrari, Ferrari by Michael Ferrari on behalf of the licensee. In answer to your question, he does have security. He has obtained the proprietary security license. This incident, if you notice, was 1 year ago, was almost 1 year ago in June.
So he has to file with us, though, also, that he's going to change his method of operation to have security guards.
Okay, I think
That's what the conformed application charge is, that he has a manager and he has security guards, and he didn't tell us.
I understood the second conform had to do with the number of security guards, but that.
Oh, that may be.
Right, and just to be clear,
Well, so he's going, right, you're right about that. It said
It's-
he went from 2 to 9, so he still has to tell us.
Okay, and in the future, from my knowledge, if somebody obtains or hires a manager, we're expected to do a method of operation change in that situation?
Yes, because we tend to get a personal questionnaire from them about the manager.
We'll do that. All
right, so I'll accept the $4,500.
What about the Department of Health violation about the floor? Is that taken care of?
Yes,
Okay.
we've taken care of it.
Bare hand contact and floor improperly maintained. All right, I'll accept the 4,500 as well.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I wonder if I can ask the board.
I know exactly what you're going to ask. You're talking about, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Glad I could help.
I don't know what he was going to ask.
This was holding up, one of the principals has a new application.
Oh, okay, all right.
We disapproved at 589, so we will reactivate it.
All right.
They're hoping for an approval today. I don't know if we can work miracles, don't know.
Item 1020, MKM Cruises, Inc.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner. My name is Roy Cacciatore. I represent the licensee, Michael Dannon, who's here with me. Mr. Dannon is the sole owner of 3 fishing boats.
So all his boats are fishing boats, or one is a cruise?
Well, the one that's owned, that's at the end of the canal, which is Sapphire, the vessel is known the Sapphire Princess. That is a full catering and does not.
So just so I understand what happened here, the catering boat buys the alcohol, and then he had moved some to the fishing boats.
Well, no, the catering boat's its own. He has a separate partner on the catering boat, so that's a separate operation. He's the sole owner of 3 vessels, all 3 licensees. He bought under 2 of the licensees
Okay.
and moved some to the 3rd boat. He didn't know he wasn't supposed to.
So
He's
that's
the
not
sole owner.
happening anymore?
No,
Okay,
it's
I'll
not.
accept.
Thank you very much.
2,000.
Is this any way related to the 1019, Tom? Is that the other one?
Counsel?
I believe so.
That way?
1019.
Sign it in, that's all.
Are you here for
Just
the other
Counsel,
case?
just to be very clear, you're here obviously both for Mike's Party Boat Corp. and then MKM Cruises, Inc.
Yes, I am.
2 separate cases, each case one in 2017-1019. It's a charge for purchase from unauthorized source with a $2,000 offer, and then 2017-1020, it's a sale for resale, and that's a $2,000 penalty.
That's correct. They all grow out of the same misunderstanding that my client had.
All right, so I'll accept both of them.
Thank you very much.
So it's 2,000 for each?
Yes, 2,000 for each, a total of
Accepted.
4,000.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is 1059, 510 W42 Hotel Operation LLC and
I'm gonna
Cachet
need
Hotel Group Limited.
I'm
And
going to
this-
need to take a 2-minute break.
All right.
Because I know this is.
2-minute break. We all set?
Ready?
All set? Okay, we're going to go back on the record. We're now going to call or recall item 1093, the declaratory ruling request by Heineken.
I'm Kevin Dano on behalf of Empire, and I still seem to be the only one here.
Yes, so we can go ahead.
Floor is
Apparently, they're
yours.
not showing up,
Okay, well,
which is their prerogative.
I have come in opposition to this declaratory ruling. It would be a sea change in New York State policy. It's not a small thing. I was personally instrumental in the addition of the language for incidental purchases. The idea is that sometimes a solicitor, sometimes I myself am sitting in at a bar, and someone orders a drink that is, not your drink, and you say that's a fine product, but would you like to try, one of mine, and I'll pay for it. And
You do that?
I do that. I do that often.
Where are you going?
We're going to sit at the next table.
But
As long as
that's,
it's under
that's,
$15, you're okay.
Yeah.
All right.
that's incidental in the sense that it just isn't worth your attention. When you turn this thing to an app and say anybody can find it on my website and sign up for it, I'm going to buy a drink for anybody who asks me to buy them a drink, that's no longer incidental. That's a buyback. I mean, that's the definite, or it's a coupon, one or the other. I personally think it's a coupon. If it's a coupon, fine. We have laws and regulations in place for a long time about coupons, and the primary is that anybody can get them, anybody can redeem them, but you can't redeem them directly to the retailer. Because unlike if I go to a supermarket and I give a coupon and they send the coupons back, there's no way for the liquor authority to keep track of how many coupons were given or how many were redeemed, and I can just use this as a method of making payments to a retailer.
So and since nobody's here to explain this to me, maybe I can ask what your understanding of this is, so there's a possibility that literally every customer in the bar could be buying a drink under this app at the same time?
Absolutely, because what they've said in their presentation is that anybody can go to their website or their social media, sign up for it, and they'll give you a list of bars to go to, right? And then you go to that bar, you present them with a number, you get a free drink. Well, let's just start off with, if I was going to do that, I'd call 7 of my friends and say, let's all go, down together, or 10, or have a bachelor party. And everybody in the bachelor party gets a free drink. There's no limitation here, and if you were doing a buyback, I'd have a limitation of 10 per year. I'd have a limitation of $700 total. None of this stuff is here, and none of this stuff is regular.
And they point out that the declaratory ruling on tabbed out is similar to what they're trying to do, but I don't see it as similar.
It's exactly the opposite. If you look at
which obviously tabbed out is not a manufacturer.
And the declaratory ruling in tabs out says specifically the manufacturer can't be the one who is presenting this. This is the exact, all of the caveats that you put in tabbed out are the exact things that they're asking you to remove here. Because in tabbed out you said the manufacturer can't directly or indirectly make the purchase to the retailer. I don't remember tabbed out specifically. I think they can advertise on their app in general, but they can't be the guy who's offering the drink. And that's exactly what's here. They can't be offering the drink. They can't be paying for the drink. They can't pay tabbed out to pay for the drink. You had a whole list. In fact, if you look at their own presentation to you, give me 1 second. Here, so here, tab. The retailer would only receive full payment for the product sold to the consumer. That's not it. The manufacturer or wholesaler were not involved in tabs out's offering of a discount. That's the exact opposite here. Tabbed out received no money from the manufacturer or wholesaler, nor did Tabbed out run a discount drink offer that was specifically paid for or commissioned by the manufacturer. The exact opposite.
Right.
Everything that they've put, no manufacturer or wholesaler indirectly bought back the products from the retailer in the tabbed out promotion. Exactly the opposite. So you have every single step that you went through for tabbed out to protect against tied house violations, and they said, well, let's look at tabbed out and we'll just forget all the protections that you built in. This is a colossal change. It will lead to, we talked about this, as a joke, but I come before you first to stop you from doing these things, because if you do them, then I go back to the office and figure out ways to drive trucks through to the loopholes that you create. And I ask you not to create another here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both.
Anything?
So, for Heineken, what's in it for them? They would buy a drink, and I guess the idea is that they buy one for you, then the idea is you buy the next one?
Well, the idea, there is a belief among suppliers that they can, if they buy you a drink, they can make you a loyal supporter of their brand.
Right.
It's personally my experience that people will support any brand that will buy them the drink for that day and then find the next one. But it also drives people to their website, drives people to their advertising, and gives them an opportunity to say to a consumer, try my brand. You're going to find, I'm going to assume without a doubt that Heineken intends this to go to people of age. There is no way, they're relying on the bar to prove people and things like that. But these kind of promotions are promotions to younger people of age to try to get them to become loyal to a brand. I don't find that personally that they work, because I think that if you tell somebody who's about 21 years old, you'll buy him a Heineken, he'll take the Heineken. If you buy him a Miller tomorrow, he's a Miller drinker.
Funny how that works. Yeah, all right. Thank you, Mr. Deno. You ready, sir? I'm going to go with the council's recommendation that this would constitute a gift of service, and I'm going to vote to deny, to issue it, and to not approve this.
You're not denying issue of the ruling. You're issuing a ruling saying that the proposal violates the law.
That's what I meant to say,
Okay.
yes. I'm saying no is what I'm saying.
So I'm going to vote to, that the proposal violates the law as well. It's obvious that, I was here for the tabbed out declaratory ruling, and I think we questioned the principles of tabbed out and their counsel at length regarding the fact that the retailers were not getting, or that the manufacturers were not reimbursing the retailers for the drink, and here that's clearly what's going on. And I just don't see what the limit is on this. This is clearly not incidental. You literally could go into the bar with 100 people and not one of them would pay for a drink. Heineken would pay for every one of them, which turns into a Heineken party. So I'm going to vote that it also is in violation of the law and not approve it.
Thank you both.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, the next items are 1059 and 1061. 510 W42 Hotel Operation LLC and Cachet Hotel Group Limited. One's a request for a hotel liquor license, the other is for a cabaret license.
Good morning. Joseph Levy here on behalf of the applicant. There's opposition here today. If the members would like to hear from the opposition first.
Sure.
Good morning. My name is Frank Holozubiak. I'm a member of Community Board 4 and co-chair of our licensing committee. I believe our position is set out clearly in the two letters we submitted, but basically we believe these licenses would not be in the public interest. The problems with this locations are not speculative. A prior hotel and club operated in the same location since 2012 and caused constant trouble for the surrounding community. In 2016 alone, there were 32 police incidents, and these were serious: robbery, larceny, assault.
And I read that submission, and the thing that popped out in my mind is obvious there were crimes involved in 2016, but nobody gave me any numbers for 2015 or 14, or I didn't know if it increased. Or if there's any evidence that it increased, because we are talking about 9th Avenue and 42nd Street, so.
Well,
There does tend to be those crimes committed around there.
Right. Except these were in the hotel rooms.
No, I understand.
You know, I do not know the answer. I know the police have been constantly concerned about this location. In fact, when we first heard about the new operator, we had a meeting that the police participated in the way they explained to the operator the problems they had always had at this location.
You agree this is a significantly different method of operation than the last principles?
To the extent we understand their method of operation, I would say yes, but we have serious questions about that. The real issue...
What don't you understand about their method of operation? Because I got a pretty good picture of it.
Okay.
I think.
If I could get at it this way, our chief problems are really structural. They're with the outdoor space and with the size of the club. On the outdoor space, we quite frankly not sure how it's going to be used. We've been told repeatedly, including at the 500-foot hearing, that the outdoor space would be primarily used for events. We then just found a press release that was actually issued before the 500-foot hearing, where it talks about an indoor-outdoor wine terrace with mesmerizing glowing fire pits and a restaurant that would be a garden oasis for a starlit dinner. We've had 3 meetings with them. None of their submissions, they've never mentioned anything like this. The restaurant was always completely indoors. There've been no mention of...
Well, I mean, they're not, based on the application I have, there's no mention of a restaurant outdoors, so I don't think that's even on the table.
Okay, but I guess what I'm saying is, every time we hear about something, this thing seems to shift about what it's going to be. But there's a serious structural problem with the outdoor space. It is abutted by 2 sizable residential buildings. One is a 45-story high-rise where there were noise complaints from the outdoor space as high as the 29th floor. The other is subsidized housing that includes housing for the mentally ill, and I believe you have a letter from the people who provide social services about the importance of a safe, quiet environment for these people. So regardless of the operator, we know that the noise from the outdoor space bothers hundreds of residents and has been doing so for the past few years.
Do we have any, are the complaints we had of the old place noise?
We do have noise complaints from
Okay.
So again, and what happened with the outdoor space, which it goes to my point that we don't know what they intended, at our first committee meeting, representatives of the Cache Hotel Group actually...
Well, I mean, see, this is my problem with the community boards in general. There is an active 500-foot hearing wherein they testified as to what their intentions were, and nobody showed up for it.
That's not correct.
I don't believe anybody from the community board was there.
I was there myself. It was about a 2-hour hearing.
So then the report I got from my ALJ is very clear about what their intentions are for the outdoor space.
Okay, well, if that is fine, that's fine. I'm just saying that they have announced publicly they have different...
Well, I'm worried about what they told the judge.
Okay, which my notes say primarily private events.
There will be no live... The Great Lawn is a large open rectangular space that will have a rolling bar and will be used primarily for private events.
Okay.
So it will be recorded music only.
Okay, so
what question do you have about what's going to go on there?
Their press release about fire pits, indoor-outdoor wine terrace, and starlight dinners.
Well, that's not what they told us.
I agree, and it's not what they told us. At our committee meeting, representatives of the Cache Hotel Group who are running the hotel agreed to a series of steps and signed on to them regarding the use of the outdoor space. They said they were going to have a retractable roof.
Well, that's I believe that was looked into, and it's clear that the Department of Buildings won't allow that.
Okay.
Because I do have a letter from the Department of Buildings indicating that.
I was not aware of that, but they had, in any event, indicated they could no longer live with those steps. But our basic position is there should not be live music or alcohol service in the outdoor spaces, given the problems to the buildings. And I have another representative of the buildings who will address the problems more specifically. With respect to the club, the issue is simply size. The old club was a 650-person capacity space, which caused endless problems. When this applicant came to us from the very first meeting back in November, they kept saying, it's going to be a smaller space. You're going to like it, it's going to be smaller. They continued to say that. They even submitted floor plans that showed it had 219 seats. We said, great. We asked them to agree to stipulate that the capacity would be no more than 450 people. In other words, a lot above the 219. They then said they couldn't do that because they might want to have private events that would have capacity above 500 people. So again, we're not.
It has a capacity of 650, though.
It
right?
has a C of O of 650. But again, this is an area that has become even more residential since this opened, and we know the problems that a place with that capacity causes here. Getting to the understanding factor, we don't understand how a club that has 219 seats could suddenly need 650 people. So it seems that there is something about the method of operation we don't fully understand here. But again, we'd be content with our stipulations, which include limiting the capacity to 450 people.
And what was the community's problem with the club previously? The old club? Other than the basic crime and...
Crime, noise, as you'll hear from the building representatives, patrons would end up passed out in their building lobbies and doorsteps. Traffic, lines of people waiting to go in, people leaving, screaming, yelling at 4 a.m.
Okay. So you're saying you can live with 4 a.m. as long as it's limited to 450?
Correct, and there are a few other stipulations that I don't think the applicant had a problem with.
Okay. And the hotel, your issue is purely there should be no alcohol in any of the outdoor spaces?
Correct, or recorded music.
Okay.
Or any kind of music.
Are you sure you were at the community board hearings? I mean, at the 500-foot hearing?
Yes.
Chairman, the way it's, I'm sorry. No, go ahead, I don't know.
It's listed in the 500-foot report for the CR license.
Yeah, I have it on mine that it says no one appeared.
On one page, it says community board didn't appear, and then you flip it over and it has all the appearances.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. He needs to fix that.
My name is Joe Restuccia. I'm the Executive Director of Clinton Housing. We own the adjacent building. It's affordable housing for formerly homeless, mentally ill, and families. Clinton Housing is a not-for-profit community organization. We developed 1,000 units of affordable housing in Clinton and Hell's Kitchen. This club, when we originally negotiated with the prior owner at 650, told us a very careful method of operation. We agreed. We were settled with it. It became a total difficulty and nightmare for the tenants who live next door. I just want to...
So it was, you agreed to a method of operation and they followed that method of operation and it became a nightmare, or they didn't follow it?
They did not follow the method of operation. They said they would have no promoters. They had large events. The issues with our adjacent building, when the club would start or end, there would be people who would actually come into our lobby seeking to use the bathroom, people who were drunk, passing out, vomiting in front of the building. The other issue we had, and I thought the tenants were exaggerating, of the noise from the interior courtyards. They would have events which were not supposed to happen at all within that hotel, and the tenants said they could not hear themselves in their apartments. I personally went to the building one Saturday during an event, and I could not believe how loud it was. I just want to give you a photo to understand the proximity.
Those are their courtyards. That's our building, and then the tower.
So our building is the yellow one. We have 92 individuals and families there. The issue we have with the current applicant is not that there should not be a club. It's a reduction in the size, so it becomes more manageable. And the second thing is the interior courtyards. Not only our building, but the adjacent 45-story building, complaints from, which was a partner in our project originally, people from the 28th to 29th floor have complained about the noise here. This is basically a well surrounded by apartments. And just to note that it's on 42nd and 10th, not 42nd and 9th, and our location is now extremely residential. Diagonally across are 864 apartments. To the north side of 10th of 42nd, another 300 apartments, and right opposite 42nd, another 150. So this neighborhood is residential and actually is fairly quiet during the week.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lillian Banks. I'm a property manager for Clinton Housing, 500 West 42nd Street. And since roughly 2012 to 2014, we've received numerous complaints in regards to the hotel adjacent from the building, the noise in the courtyard, the front desk staff having to police and monitor the crowd, control, abandoning their shift to go out on the street and kind of like make sure everybody move along safely, picking up trash, syringes, wiping blood off of the building, urine, and all of this as a result of the activities that went on in the hotel. And then also when they're leaving the venue, there's no one there to police the crowd to make sure that people are moving along safely without interrupting the lives of the tenants in the community. I wanted to produce documentation and evidence from tenants and people in complaints in the building, logs, and
Okay, you can bring it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Nestor Ceballos. I'm the property manager for 561 10th Avenue. It's the building right next to the hotel and club. And I'm just going to piggyback off Clinton Management rep. We have the same issues. Basically, our issue is more from the outer space, the live music, and the DJ going all the way up to the 20th, 30th floor. And it's true because I've been there myself too on the weekend, and I have heard the music all the way up to the 30th floor. And the other problem that we have is the people leaving the club at 4 or 5 o'clock at night, in the morning, going in front of the building, asking the doorman to let them use the bathroom, basically just hanging in front of the building, smoking, drinking, fighting, and all that. So that's our issue. I mean, I don't know how we're gonna deal with that issue, especially people just hanging in front of the building, fighting and screaming. And this is a residential building, 417 units. There are people who live on the 3rd, 4th, 5th floor that face the front of the building that they call downstairs and complain about the noise.
Okay, thanks.
And that's about it. Thank you.
Part of the record. Is that it for opposition?
Yeah, Mr. Levy?
Morning again. I take it the members had an opportunity to review the submission.
Yes.
I tried to lay out as much of this as possible in advance so we didn't have to go through all this stuff today. I have with me the principals of Merchant Hospitality, management team from Cachet Restaurant Group, and head of security, the security company that we've hired for both projects, who's been doing business in New York City and licensing many places for years and years and has a great reputation of working with licensed establishments.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
Can someone come up here and show me on this Google shot here, which is which? The Great Lawn, Bamboo Garden, SPA deck, which is which?
I may actually be able to do it a little bit easier just by explaining it, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
All right.
And I can show you afterwards if it's
All
not
right.
clear. We have a bamboo garden, which is 700 square feet or so. We have a spa deck, which is about 900 square feet or so. And then we have a great lawn, which is about 1,700 square feet. So the largest of the three is what we're talking about is the great lawn, which is the space that, as I understand.
That's the long rectangular one.
Yeah, it's the rectangular one.
That's the Great Lawn.
Correct. Yes.
That's the Great Lawn, which is the Bamboo Garden over here.
Yes, the small one.
Okay, thank you.
So with the two applications.
Wait a second, that's the Great Lawn, that's the
spot deck, okay.
Yeah, it's spot.
Okay, go ahead.
And we have in the diagrams that we submitted to the authority with the
Yeah, no, I have the
application, they them all
diagrams too.
labeled. So we really have one issue here with respect to the hotel and one issue with respect to the club. I'd like to deal with the club first, if you don't mind.
Sure.
We actually spent a lot of time with community.
I'd rather deal with the hotel first, actually.
Okay.
If
so
we can.
We can deal with the hotel first, no problem.
Okay.
So the issue here is the outdoor space. The community board is interested in restricting our use of the outdoor space and restricting the hours that we can use it. At the time of the community board meeting, we had a lot of conversations about installing a retractable roof, which was our intention to do, and the substance of the conversation was about when that roof would actually be opened and closed and at what time events would cease to exist outside. The community board also wanted to restrict alcohol service from the other two open air spaces. So I know you have the Google Earth image there, but to give you an idea of the setup of the place, this hotel is 3 stories tall. All the outdoor space that we're talking about is actually on the 2nd floor. And it's sort of like a recessed open air courtyard is what we're talking about here. So actual hotel rooms from our building surround that great lawn space and the other spaces as well. So this is very well within our
But only one
perimeter.
floor of rooms, right?
Well, the floor that the actual events are on and the one above
Right.
it. So what we're talking about here is this recessed open air space. So it's within our perimeter. It's not like a backyard or a rooftop per se. It's recessed within our perimeter, surrounded by hotel rooms, which obviously creates a situation where we are very interested in not disturbing our guests.
But you understand how that can become a funnel for sound going up.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me just say off the bat that one of the 3 outdoor spaces, the spa deck, the 900 and change square foot space, although we weren't able to install a retractable roof on the great lawn space, we were able to fully cover the spa deck with a static roof that will not be retractable, that cannot open. So now the spa deck outdoor space is fully enclosed. It's
The
no
whole
longer-
thing is, because the
whole-
diagram indicates only part of it is.
Right, this is.
That's the one closest to the apartment building.
Is that right?
Yes, and it's half. It's half enclosed with full glass and then about 300 square feet
Okay.
is still open.
Okay.
But the roof that's there is static, not retractable. So that should help alleviate any issues there.
Okay.
With respect to the bamboo garden, this is not a huge space. This is another opportunity or a space where guests can have an opportunity to lay out, to sit, to read a book. And we want to have the ability to service our clients. If we have guests that want to sit in the bamboo garden and want to order a bite to eat and a glass of rosé on a nice day, we'd like to have the ability to do that. We're happy to restrict the music.
So you're not going to have tables out there per se, you're talking about just delivering lunch or something? Or?
Well, that's just the bamboo garden. The actual great lawn space, which is really the only space that we're talking about with respect to the larger events, the whole idea of the restaurant oasis with indoor-outdoor wine terrace or whatever was said in the press release. That actually refers to the ground floor restaurant, not this area. This area will be for events. We're talking about wedding ceremonies. We're talking about corporate retreats where there's areas to break out, things like that. And we're happy to, in light of the fact that we can't install a retractable roof, we've already been discussing what sound baffling measures can be taken. There will be large umbrellas. There will be foliage and trees being planted up there to help with the noise baffling. And we're happy with any recorded music that we're going to have upstairs to have some limiters on it to keep the noise levels down. We're not talking about live outdoor concerts or DJ sets that go till all hours of the night. It's never been the intention. It's never been discussed that way. It's not what we intend to use the space for.
You can understand that the community is concerned about this before because noise has emanated and it's disturbed people around it, and they shouldn't have to put up with that.
Correct.
Right.
And previously, they asked the prior operator to restrict their hours of operation to a close of midnight during the week and 1 o'clock on the weekends.
Mhm.
And if they'd like us to abide by those same stipulations, we'd be happy to.
That's the outdoor space?
That's the great lawn space. And frankly, we don't see events going even that late. Because again, we have the guest rooms literally facing the great lawn. You've heard earlier today about the nature of the operators who occupied this space previously and how much of a nightmare it was. And the nature of the hotel under their operation resembled more of a youth hostel. They were doing shared rooms, there were bunk beds in hotel rooms, which I've never seen, and this was really cultivating an environment that was not conducive to anything good for anyone in the neighborhood. we have a proven track record through the people we have involved with this project of creating a luxury brand and bringing it to a 4-star level, which is what we want to do. And you can't achieve that if you have loud events that don't let people sleep. There's only 105 rooms total in the whole hotel. It's not like there's 5,000, and if a couple can't sleep, we just won't fill them. It's not part of the calculation.
Are the rooms that are adjacent to these outdoor spaces, can the people go from the room to the outdoor space?
We have to go downstairs to the area where they are. Or you mean the ones on the same level?
Yeah.
Like, do they open up into the Great
Yes.
Lawn? They don't, right? You have to go down
There's
the hallway.
a corridor in between.
Yeah, there's a corridor.
And then you have to enter the
But there are windows on?
Correct.
Okay.
There's windows, there's doors, and you can look out your window and see what's happening out there. So disturbing our guests is not something we're really interested in doing.
Or are there cabanas on the Great Lawn or something like that? I'm looking at it. The
Sorry.
picture he gave me, just, it looks like there's cabanas or something.
Right now there's,
The cabanas were in the spa area, not on the Great Lawn.
Okay. So that's the spa area I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And then they're still there as well?
They're going away,
Okay.
as well as the jacuzzis are.
I assume your clientele isn't going to be anything like was there before.
correct. And
And my concern is also, how do you mitigate people leaving, like mass numbers of people leaving early in the morning? I mean, my concern is how that impacts neighbors as well.
absolutely. What I would
Right now, we're only talking about the hotel, so I don't think we're talking about thousands of people leaving.
Correct.
Hundreds.
That'll be the
Yeah,
club.
the events, on this, I mean, it's 1,700 square feet. It's not such a big space that we're even talking about hundreds of people filtering out at the same time. And, you know, it's worth noting that I believe it was 40 approximately incidents of police activity at the hotel in 2016 alone. So far, in the 4 months that they've been in operation of the hotel, there's been absolutely 0 police complaints or police activities reported. I spoke to the commanding officer whose department office is literally right next door to the establishment. So if there's a problem, they're going to know pretty quickly. And he indicated to me there's been 0 311 complaints for noise or otherwise from the hotel, and there's been 0 incidents of police activity in the 4 months since these folks have taken over operations of the hotel.
Is he the one who said he could kiss you?
Yes, that's,
All right.
I believe it was Hug,
Hug, I'm sorry.
but,
Let's get that on the record. All right.
but anyway, it's pretty incredible if you consider the fact that when they took over at the beginning, you know, of February, most of the reservations that were booked at the time were for the prior space. So the fact that they've been able to bring in a team that with the prior clientele, they were able to clean it up and manage this place so much better in the past 4 months, I think is pretty incredible because that's not even their core clientele. Like I said in my submission, there's a lot more work to do here and we're happy to do it. But I think 4 months is not 2 weeks. So I think that's a good snapshot of the kind of operators that are going to be at the hotel. And again, we're happy to take sound baffling measures, the umbrellas, the foliage, the trees, the limiters on the music, no live music or DJs outside. That's fine. We didn't want to do that. We said we're happy with that. The issue is how late can these events go outside? The community board, I believe, wanted to restrict us to 10 and 11. And the prior operator, who didn't really have experience with this, was given 12 and 1. I understand they didn't do what they said they were, but I think with the applicant before you, they have a lot at stake and they have a proven track record over 30-plus years of operating in this city and around the world. I think they deserve the benefit of the doubt. And if 12 and 1 is something you want to stick with from what the prior operators have, that's something that we're happy to live with because, frankly, we're not going to have events that are going to go past that. But we do want to have the flexibility to not shoo people out if there's going to be an event that's going to end closer to 12.
All right.
Should we move on to the cabaret?
No, we're going to vote on this one first. These are 2 separate applications, right, Jackie? Yeah, so
They're
we'll
two-
vote on,
They're 2 separate applications, but I think it's important to,
no, I understand if
It's a
we
transfer.
disapprove one, then that causes enormous problems for the first one. I
of
get
course, and
that.
it's a sale of assets, and both were
Right.
joined in the same transaction.
Yeah.
You ready to?
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to get this worked out, and then if you have objections, we can handle them all later, or if they do.
I think you have a substantially different method of operation as proposed. I'm willing to approve this under some stipulations. Number one, that on the spa deck and the what's the other one, the Bamboo, that there be absolutely no music whatsoever. Those are the closest ones to the other two buildings, and that the other one, the Great Lawn, that there be a limiter. And I think even then, I would want music cut off by, say, like 11 o'clock. I'd be willing to give you the 12 to 1, same hours as before, but even on the Great Lawn, I'd want it stopped, music, the recorded music with a limiter stopped by 11. I agree. I'm giving you credit for having turned things around. 4 months is, only 4 months, but that's a lifetime compared to what these residents and the community in the area has lived with before that. So I'm willing to give you a shot under those circumstances.
I appreciate that. Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Just a point of information. One of the things that we had discussed with the community board was if there's going to be no music in these other spaces, in the outdoor spaces, is that going to apply to people's guests' personal music? Like if someone has an iPod and a speaker, is that apply to that, or that just applies to our programmed speakers in the space?
I'm going to say it's going to apply to your program, but I'm also going to hold you accountable for if you're disturbing the neighbors.
Sure.
If your residents are, if your customers are disturbing the neighbors, I would hold you accountable for that.
Totally understood.
What'd you say, the music's off at 11 during the week and 12 in the weekend?
No, I said on the Bamboo and the...
No, I got that,
okay.
but the Great Lawn, the music's off when?
By 11 o'clock,
Got it. And guests, if they have their own music, it's just up to us to monitor it.
yes, and keep it under control. And you should supply the neighbors with a contact in case...
Absolutely.
All right.
I mean, I don't know whether you want to do it that way, or what I was going to do was give you 11 to 12 o'clock at the Bamboo, at the Great Lawn for a year, and if you come back and there's nothing, and we don't have a problem in a year, or they don't have a problem in a year, then assuming you do all the baffling you're talking about, you have the sound limiters, I wasn't going to shut the music down then, I was going to shut the place down then. So I don't know whether you want to be open longer under his theory or shorter under mine, but have the music longer.
We'll take Commissioner Ford's.
Okay. All right, so I agree with him then.
Okay, because I'm not willing to agree with the chairman on that one, so I'm sticking to that one. So,
And then the restaurant, it sounds like the restaurant's on the first floor and there's no issues with that. I'm assuming there's no issues with the restaurant on the ground floor?
If there's no outdoor space, then there aren't, but...
Is there outdoor space in the ground floor?
At the moment, no. In the future, we want to keep the option open.
Okay.
You always have the option.
Which obviously you have to go back to them for that
course.
anyway.
Of course.
Can I ask a clarifying point about the music?
Yes.
If it's going to be allowed, could it be limited to events? Because we heard from residents that they're bothered, people work there, are there during the day, and what we don't want is music that is on, from 10 a.m. in the morning till 11.
Well, I mean, they can call an event when they just have a cocktail hour out there. So I don't know how you could limit that. You want it.
Well, it just doesn't have music constantly playing as sort of...
So not before. I don't know how you do that. Do you have any ideas?
I don't.
You can say not before 11.
Not before 11 a.m., you mean?
I don't know what, because I can't imagine they're going to play recorded music all day. I mean, my concern here isn't that they're going to operate like the last person. I have no question about that, given where their other operations are, which I am familiar with. So I understand your concern. I just don't know that it's something I'm worried about, because I don't think it's going to happen. I think that the music will be there when people are there. And I think that's what we're allowing.
All right, if we have...
And the other two places are not having any music, so.
Right. And I'm also willing to, I'll add to that, say a year from now, if there's been no issues like there haven't been for the past 4 months, I'd be willing to entertain some degree of recorded music low-key outside as well. We'll see how things go, and run that by the board, make sure they're happy with it, and everybody's good.
But I do want the limiters and whatever you can do to baffle it on the other.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You guys okay with that for now as a start? Thank you. Good.
All right, let's go to the club.
All right. Same as before, 12 and 1.
But the music's off at 11.
Music is off at 11. Correct.
But guests' personal music is.
Right. Yeah.
Now the club.
Now the club. This was previously, as you've read and heard about, a disaster of an operation. It was a nightclub that had a legal capacity of 650 persons and routinely had 1,000 in the space, with 500 queuing outside. You've heard the stories from the neighbors of the patrons when they leave drunk, going to different lobbies and using restrooms or using the lobby as a restroom, all behavior that's totally unacceptable. As per my submission, we are not looking to run a nightclub here. We are looking to have a more mature concept. The DBA here, as you've read, it's the Playboy Club. Playboy Club.
So this is affiliated with Playboy?
It's affiliated in the sense that we have a license agreement with them. We are
Okay.
not them,
And
they
so
are
are
not
there
us.
going to be
There's no-
employees that are dancers?
There's no nudity
No,
here.
okay.
This is not a gentleman's club at all. We made that abundantly clear. Our application indicates no topless.
Just the name, that's
Yeah,
all.
just the name. Just
I
the
have
name.
to check.
But, you know, it's
We
worth
have to
noting
ask,
that the Playboy brand has undergone
Yes.
a lot of changes.
Yeah, the magazine doesn't even have it anymore, so, or they're going back to it, I
They're
have no
going
idea.
back to it, but generally the name Playboy is really supposed to be a lifestyle brand. So the plan for the space is to eliminate this massive dance floor and this massive dance club, rip out one of the bars completely, build a brand new kitchen, cut the footprint down by about 2,000 square feet, and create 3 different spaces within one that you can move freely throughout. The first being a cocktail lounge, the second being an adult game room. Adult doesn't mean like nudity, it means like billiards, backgammon, things like that, like kind of an old lounge. And then a throwback supper club in the back.
So it seems like the only issue that the community board has with you, and that you have with the community board, is the number of people.
Its capacity.
And you have, which they stated and your application states, is there's only 219 seats in the place.
Correct. So here's the analysis behind the number and what the issue is for us. We see this venue as being very attractive to a lot of companies, law firms, things like that, to do corporate events, end-of-year parties, things of that nature. We think that if someone's going to do their Christmas party at Cipriani's, they could do it at the Playboy Club just as easily. So 500 is the kind of magic number to get those places to even consider you as a venue. We have a capacity of 650. What we indicated to the community board was we need to hit 500 to allow people to book parties of 500 or more. And it's going to take about 75 people to staff the space. So
You need 600
So
to make it marketable.
would we take a small haircut? Sure. But that 500 is kind of a magic number that works for the business plan. The community board proposed 450 persons inclusive of staff, which puts us at 375, which takes us completely out of the market for the places that would want to do these events at our club. So that's sort of the analysis. In addition to all the other things we discussed.
So you need this, you need that number for events, but you don't need it nightly?
Every day, no. We do not need it every day.
So why can't, do you guys have that big an issue if they have it for events but don't have it nightly?
Well, the question is, how many events? Because we do know.
Well, listen, if they can get an event every night, which you and I both know is not going to happen, then God bless them. I think they'd be the most successful supper club in Manhattan. But I don't know how many. I wasn't thinking about putting a limit on it because I don't think that they have an interest in getting an event every night.
You know,
I would imagine.
Correct. And the other thing to note here is that with the community board we agreed to previously is that in addition to the abundant security we're going to have in the space, they had issues with local residential buildings with, guests filtering in there in the past. We said that we would have guards move towards those locations towards the end of the night when we had an event over.
Well, that's
300
something I
people.
was going to address, and
make
also the
sure.
queuing of
And the
people
queuing
waiting in line wouldn't
the
be
hotel.
outside, right?
Exactly. So the queuing
This
will
is
be in the-
connected to the hotel? There's a
Correct.
door?
Correct. So the
And there's
queuing-
also an exit door to the street?
Correct.
Okay.
So there would be a queuing in the hotel, which would eliminate the queuing outside problem. The security would prevent people from causing trouble in residential buildings when we have events, which is the only instance where we'd have more people than the actual chairs and seats that we have enumerated in our diagram.
Yeah, I think the delta here between of how many you need and how many the community is comfortable with, I think that can be mitigated by you controlling entry and exit of people.
100%.
You know?
And the other difference with how we're running this facility is What you had previously was a nightclub that was poorly supervised, that had tickets that people would buy for shows that had set ending times and set beginning times. That's why you'd have these crazy queues and these hordes of people spilling out. We're not doing that. So we're going to eliminate the programming that was a problem, increase security, increase the...
So what's the music situation then? It's just DJ recorded and that's it?
DJ recorded and some live. It's dinner and a show.
But it's not going to be like what you just mentioned, a show. Are we going to have like concerts, or is it just going to be a live band?
No, this is going to be, you want to speak to that a little
It's
bit?
live music, but not a show.
Okay.
No more stage, no more light show, none of that exists.
Okay.
When you say live music, what do you mean? Like a trio, a duo? Or,
An acoustic guitar, a
Yeah.
vocalist. It's a dinner hour.
Definitely drums, lots of drums.
Not like a Metallica clone band, something like that. All right. All right. I'm willing to approve this one as well. I do want to incorporate into your license what your plan is for people entering and exiting.
Sure.
I don't want to see a bunch of people leaving at one time. I assume that your patrons would not be urinating all over the place when we're leaving either, like in the previous, in the past. We certainly hope not. I'm kind of approving this in the hopes that you're going to actually greatly improve the environment for the folks who live in this neighborhood and, step it up, not just a few notches, but, 100 feet.
Absolutely.
So I'm willing to approve.
So I'm willing to approve too. I'm going to approve, and he's obviously going to have to agree with this, but 600 for events. I'm not going to have a limit on the events. 500 for everything else. 4 a.m. closing. The people, the customers are going to have to be queued in the hotel. There's no lines outside. And no promoters are to be used ever. And I just want to see something else.
Everything here.
Contact number, I'm going to basically read off the rest of what the community board wanted. So security stationed at the doorways of 500 West 42nd and 561 10th Avenue
And
at the
that's-
end of the,
At the end, just for events over 300,
yes. Has to operate as a supper club. Private events will mainly be corporate events or parties. We're not talking about concerts with tickets or anything like that. And they need contact numbers, the buildings particularly, whoever wants them in the community, contact numbers for on-site security.
The only thing I want to point out is the additional security at the residential entrances for events. If the nature of our events and the way that we're running the space totally alleviates this issue.
Yes.
Is this something that we can?
If they, I mean, I'm assuming they'll probably agree with you if it gets that good. And, yeah, so if you can get me a letter that says they don't want them there anymore, then I'm fine with it.
Okay, I'm just asking the question because it's obviously going to be a huge
Yeah.
expense.
And it doesn't have to be 10 guys, it just has to be somebody to make sure nobody's loitering. I mean, that seems to be what the major issue was. I assume you're going to keep the front of the building better than the previous clients, which I saw the pictures of the garbage and everything. I've seen your other places, and that doesn't exist, so. That's it. Do you have anything else that we left out?
It appears that your clientele inside is going to be more adult and more ruly too, so you shouldn't have problems inside that will roll outside, so.
All right, good luck.
Good.
Thank you.
Commissioner, you're good with
Yes,
those conditions?
yes,
Okay.
yep.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Just one question.
Yes.
Yes.
About the fire pits, are they fictitious or?
They have to be approved anyway.
Yeah, that's not something I'm getting into, that's a building code issue.
But they may be on the Great Line?
I don't know, we don't have anything to do with fire pits, that's something the city deals with.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Alex, you can go back to work now. You can disconnect from Albany.
Okay, thank you.
All right, the next item, 1086, Aesthetics LLC.
Hello, this is, I guess, before you, it's technically a request for reconsideration.
Yeah, I'm going to grant that. Jackie, did you get my?
They went through the emails back in January, and they pulled the email, what was attached, compared to what was scanned, clearly documents a mess.
So we, okay, but you have everything you need. It sounded like the only thing you needed was the landlord, which has not changed.
That's not an issue anymore.
Okay.
It's in the conditions that were never addressed initially, so they're not on point.
Okay.
So I'll approve.
And I have the refund check that was also sent already.
All right, so I'll grant reconsideration and approve.
So all deficiencies seem to be corrected, so, all right.
Anything that we had responded to, we did, and everything that was in the disapproval, we substituted.
So just, and you're representing that the landlord is still the same landlord as
Yes,
before?
yes,
Okay.
and even if not, we've never resubmitted notice when there's a change of owner. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
I don't think I think there were a couple of deficiency letters, yeah.
All right.
Because this is just an upgrade anyway?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay.
I'll grant recon and approval as well.
Great, thank you very much.
Next item is 1038, Mangaroni LLC.
Good morning,
Hi.
Commissioners, Chairman.
So I'm going to sustain, or go put your name on, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my name's Thomas McCowan here representing Mangaroni LLC, and I have the licensee principal, Tarek Elam, findings of fact. We're not here
Yeah,
to
so
controvert.
I'm going to sustain 1, dismiss 2, 3, 4, sustain 5, sustain 6, and dismiss 7.
And Mr. McCallum, have you had a chance to read the ALJ's decision?
I did, and in fact, that was part of some of my notes here, and I felt that ALJ Harvey wrote a very, very solid
You'd agree with
findings
that?
of fact.
Okay.
Well, I do, yeah, and again, I'm here not to controvert, and that's why I did not put it.
So
in.
then tell me what he's changing, because the booze brunches are over.
Well, they've been modified. That's what we're here to discuss. I'm here to discuss the mitigation as to what's going to happen. And again, we have a list of them. I will just simply, go down as to what he's done since then. Chronology is important here. Mr. Alam purchased his interest in 2011. The place has been a restaurant. It's been operating since 2005. This is an example of the perils of purchasing through a stock deal. Operating the premises since 2011, and then next thing we see a whole series of violations, which I know the authority is intimately aware of, and I addressed that with him, and I said, what changed? What in fact took place? And in large part, the brunch itself started to get some celebrity press. The restaurant caught on, and it was almost, pun intended, so much intoxicating that the brunch was really driving the operation. It was a period of months, not years. And
Counsel, I don't know if that's fair. I mean, we have open cases against your client. We have, in fact, I believe 4 additional open cases against your client that lead up until this year. If I look at the latest notice of pleading, I believe there's multiple charges. This all stems from the behavior that's in this ALJ report.
And it is that behavior, and that's what I've spoken to him and what was to be done. The ALJ report, I should say the hearings took place in January of this year, and a lot of these events and those additional pleadings address events that took place prior to the hearing that's before you. I've spent a great deal of time with Mr. Alam telling him that despite what you think and feel in inheriting this method of operation, there are rules, strict rules, and fundamentally disorderly. There's disorderly noise, there's disorderly some activities. Again, there were 7 charges, 3 were sustained, and I asked him.
But the 3 that were sustained, in my mind, were the worst.
And they can all be rectified. And what he's done and put into place, and the first suggestion was, you need to be a presence there every weekend for the brunch. And Mr. Alam.
See, I don't know that that's really giving me any security.
Well, it's a start. I mean, it's a
Well,
start.
let me tell you where I want to start. No DJs ever.
They the only time,
Well, what was the dance music?
what's that? The dance music was the iPod dock with music. Limiters have been placed on them. That was in the report.
Well, there's a DJ booth, am I
There's a
wrong?
DJ booth,
Well,
right.
that has to be pulled out.
The DJ booth, again, I don't think you'll have an issue pulling it out. It was there when he took over the premises. That would be for a private
I
party.
would suggest you get rid of the selfie booth,
The selfie booth has been
which
relocated.
appears to be somewhere that women like to go disrobe.
Well, the selfie booth, again, I have a list of 5 points that he's done, measures he's taken since the charges came down, and there was a second and a third. So there were a number of pleadings, and I want you to factor in when those cases appear before you as to what he's
Well,
done.
how many more do we have coming?
4 very serious
All,
cases.
all around brunch?
Yes, basically.
Right, the
How
restaurant,
about this, then? We're going to change the hours of the restaurant. There's no more brunch.
well, again, that's...
He doesn't, we have 4 cases, not one of them involves dinner. That, to me, says he shouldn't be open in the afternoon.
Well, if I can just address what he's done that you haven't heard.
Well, I know, but why do I have to wait this long for him to change something? I mean, what are the dates of the other cases?
It's late 2016,
it was
early
autumn.
2000. But we have members
So
of
this
the
went,
community
so he
who've
had,
come in.
so,
I mean,
so he had the notice of pleading in August. Did he get that in August, I'm assuming?
All these are in August.
No, but when did we send out the notice of pleading? So in October. Did he have anything after October?
the latest charges that I'm seeing deal with are January this year. And
So
I
that's
think we
no,
have a
to me,
history,
if
too.
this is the most recent one, that's notice to me that he's aware that brunch is a problem. He hasn't changed it
He
by
has.
January.
He has, and that's.
No,
what
he didn't
I'm
do it by January, though, when the next charge came down.
That I can't.
Nothing that we have other ones in between, too.
I know that, but he got notice of these, when he got the notice of pleading in a minimum, he probably had it before then, but he got these pleadings in October.
And the measures have been all
Well, what are the
implemented. It's gonna be
measures?
this-
Because his presence is obviously not really giving
Well,
me any
that was my first point. What he has done is they had no system of regulating the crowd, and the crowd control was all at the brunch. Now they have a strict reservation system where you can only be there with a reservation. It's monitored, it's eliminated the occupancy by half. They've changed what was probably the catalyst. The pre-fee menu is now,
I mean,
they've
here's-
doubled the price point.
I respect everything you're saying, and I understand it, but if this was the only thing, I'd probably be able to do what you want. But given what's coming, assuming that they all go to hearing and similar charges get sustained, which we don't know that that's the case, I think we'd all be wasting our time here.
Well, we're not there yet. We're not there yet, and we have this.
And
these
I don't want him to
charges
wait,
sustain the course.
and he may be wasting his money, that's what I'm telling you. I haven't seen what's coming, that's the one thing, I have no clue. But if they're similar to this, we could be back here in 3 months, and I could be canceling him.
Again, if I could just make a few more points.
Go ahead.
Method of operation, zero tolerance. What went on, it was a bit of a bacchanal feel. That was my interpretation. Again, eliminated. So what happened during this period, during autumn into some of the activity that took place after this, he's now been regularly meeting with the community board, meeting with the block association, the 13th precinct. He's now working with Corey Johnson, who's the local councilman. He's kind of acted as a liaison between them. And all the measures that he's implemented, I can't deny that some of the activity in the autumn, which will appear before you, didn't occur. Again, it needs to be adjudicated, but right now, it's eliminated. It's eliminated. He's here. It's more
And
conventional brunch.
I understand that, and I feel for him, but I question whether, given what's coming, if it's too late. And I'm willing, if you want to take a fine here and walk away, and basically there's no more music, you're going to agree to that, then maybe, I just don't want to waste the guy's money, because if the stuff that's coming is as bad as this, I'm canceling him. That's what I'm saying. I'm questioning whether the best deal for him is probably to walk away.
Well, I think we should also factor in that we're looking at a period of 4 months when most of this
I know, but
took place.
but 3 of the months he had notice of it. He had notice that there was a problem, and he didn't do anything until finally he realized, probably when you got involved, and you realized, hey, you're going to lose your business.
Well, I've had that conversation with him, and in part, and he can speak for himself, he felt a lot of it was just being driven by people who had it in, were upset with the brunch, and wanted the place closed.
Well,
So he dismissed in large part all the accusations.
He's selling full bottles of champagne, and there's people dancing in, it's a club on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Was. But he's selling full bottles of champagne to people who are carrying them around like they're beer bottles, and they're dancing. I mean, if I lived in that neighborhood, I'd be filing complaints myself. I mean, that's not what brunch was supposed to be.
And that's no longer, it's now a more
I know,
conventional
but I'm
brunch,
questioning
no other
whether,
place.
you've seen what goes on in here. I mean, how many chances do we give somebody? If someone's not on notice, I generally give them the benefit of the doubt. He was on notice for a long time, not to mention that when they write about it in the paper that you want to go and have a tremendous time at brunch and everybody's drunk and thrown up in the streets, then come to Il Bastardo.
But again, those are newspaper accounts, and that's in
Well,
large
no,
part what
this
drove
is
the
not a
crowd here.
newspaper account. I mean, you know, this is a brunch and there's a woman that's naked in a selfie booth.
Well, and your client knows what's coming. I mean, I offered already with the newer cases, not on this case, because of the severity of the conduct that we are aware of, to, you know, send up a cancellation order on the newer cases that obviously are not complete yet, or move to revoke this license. That's how serious what we have is.
Well, what we have is being serious is some disorderlies without any violence, without any drug trafficking. This is noise. It's eliminated. This was dancing, eliminated. Security team. It's a zero tolerance policy. He has his really all of his investment tied up in the restaurant, and he needs to operate according to the law.
I get that, but I can't promise you anything in the future. Here, given what his history is based on this, I probably can give him a fine, no music, and we can go on our way. But we know that there's 3 coming, and we don't know what the results of those are going to be. And I can't tell you that I'm going to give him fines on those.
I can't expect a different answer.
So are you willing to live with no music at all, no recorded music whatsoever, and 10,000?
Well, what's that? No, just background music, which is in the method of operation.
No, I know.
No
but
DJ,
the methods,
just a
because you just told me he didn't use a DJ, he was using his iPod. So there's no music. You want to come back after he's proven himself, assuming he gets through the other 3 cases, then we can talk about it. But I'm not sure he's getting through them anyway. I mean, this was out of control.
It was out of control for a period. There's a license
So we're
history
going to I'm going to control it for a period, and then we'll see what happens with the other
Well,
ones.
there's been no activity. He's met with the precinct since he implemented all these measures.
But that was, what, January?
January, and I think we may even have stuff.
There were no 311 calls. There were no 911 calls. It happened. It's a period. He's been licensed since 2005. It's a bad
So
stretch.
then that's the way we'll deal with this one, and then we'll see what happens on the other ones. You may get them all dismissed. I have no idea. But, well, no music, as long as he's willing to live with no music during brunch. If he wants background music during dinner, he's fine.
That I think you can,
And then
that's recognized.
and then-
Again, it's all about the brunch, Mr. Chairman.
No, there's no
It's all
question.
about the brunch, and it's there, and we can kind of
And I know this became
isolate it and
a loss
eradicate it.
leader.
And that's where we are. And this is important, so.
I don't know where Commissioner Ford is.
When do we expect these others to come before us, Counselor?
One of, I believe, is being drafted at this point, or close to being drafted, and the others are being tried expeditiously, actually, considering how bad the conduct is.
So you probably have a month before the next
With
one.
the next hearing or two?
Probably July.
But again.
Because she has 20 days to
Correct. Mr.
controvert.
McCallan, I don't believe that you're defending, for the record, you're not defending the other cases, if I remember
That's
correctly.
correct. That's correct. But again, what we have here is some noise. We had some dancing during the brunch. I think all this can be isolated. It's definitely been cauterized. It's all been eliminated, which should be factored in. We have no violence, no drug trafficking. The selfie booth was a flash. They've removed the curtain. These are events that were.
No, I get that, but it
place.
wasn't happening at 2 in the morning either.
No, it doesn't. It happened, right.
Midday.
Right.
Well, in some ways, it's almost worse than, I mean.
That's what
in
I'm
some ways,
saying.
There's drugs.
To me, it is.
The drug is the alcohol. I mean, you have people running around with full-size champagne bottles drinking out of straws.
Well, the record doesn't reflect that they're running around. They purchased them as part of the pre-fee, but they weren't running around with
And the
bottles of
pre-fee's
champagne.
over, right? You said
No, the
there's-
pre-fee, no, they've doubled the price from $35 to $65, and it's had an appreciable change in the composition of the patrons who have come in. It's a much older crowd. They're not driving people there. It's a conventional brunch. Everything has changed. It's completely changed, and
All right,
that's...
so 10,000, no music during brunch, and what else did I say? That's it. Oh, yeah, the DJ booth has to come out. No, the selfie booth, as long as he takes the curtain off, then
Curtains
I'm
off.
fine.
It's been relocated to another location. It's less of a centerpiece.
As long as you can live with that. But like I said, there's no promises on the next one.
And background music only at dinner.
Those are the dinner. They close 11 p.m. on a regular restaurant operation, so.
I'll agree to those stipulations.
All right.
What's that? Want to say anything?
No, yeah.
Yes.
We since
Step up.
Since January to now, until I went to prison, 13 prison, there is no complaint, there is no 311 call. I'm working myself every day, so, we made mistake, and now it's corrected.
Well, there's been nothing.
This
since
one's
then.
corrected. We're going to see, you still have more coming down the road, so, but this one is over.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
Take care. Is that all you have?
That's enough.
The next item is 1127H, AMA Inc. I saw Mr. Springer there a little while ago.
He's not representing you?
Is Mr. Springer representing you?
No, I'm not. Oh, because he basically knows.
1127?
1127H.
Last one in the,
Hello, I'm Daria Sisoglu, the owner of the restaurant.
So you lost your license because you refused to come in for an interview?
No, not refused. I got the notice, but I didn't realize I got it. It got messed up with all the other paperwork I had, and I just
Because that's
forgot to come in.
pretty serious.
Yeah, I forgot to come in.
Well,
That's
if you
what
get it
happened.
again, you're going to come in? You can't
Oh,
forget to come in.
absolutely. Oh, no, absolutely. We paid a very, very
Yeah, I'm
harsh
sure.
fine because we lost our license because of this.
All right, well, I'll agree that you paid a price that was significant, and I'll approve.
What's your occupancy?
Restaurant owner?
No occupancy in the premise, 100, 250?
Oh, my occupancy, 100. About 100, yeah.
I'll approve as well.
You what? Thank you, you're approved.
You're approved.
Thank you.
The next item we have is 1077, Promdi Global Enterprises, Inc.
Morning, Chairman, Commissioner. Jason Gill, attorney for the licensee, Cohen Hockman and Allen, 75 Maiden Lane, Suite 802, New York, New York. This is a conditional no contest agreement that we made with the authority and settlement of the charges.
Yeah, I asked you about this, didn't I? I got it, I remember.
All right.
So you just, I'm sorry. Your client just got a new method of operation recently approved in March, changing the hours from 12 a.m. Sunday to Thursday and 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, and allow live music and karaoke. I was not aware when that was granted about all of these charges. So I'm going to, in order to accept your deal, I'm going to ask you to give that all back.
The new method of
Yes.
operation.
Meaning that he's going back to his old hours. He's not going to allow live music or karaoke. Or you can go to hearing. He's going to have to agree to that. I can't take it, but I will take it if you lose the hearing.
What would be, how long would he have to wait to apply for?
A year.
A year.
I mean, this is, the stuff that went on here is you know, I give him credit for finally realizing he needed to apply to change the operation, but he waited too long.
Yep.
Because he got himself in some serious trouble beforehand. And Roosevelt Avenue is an area that we are having significant complaints about.
Right.
You want to sit down and explain it to him?
Can I explain it?
Yeah, you can go. We'll second call it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, the next item is 1106, Fatbird LLC.
Good afternoon, my name is Frank Palillo. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Tom Racine from Fatbird.
Hi.
Be happy to answer any questions you may have. Fatbird,
So I guess the confusion with the community board is that you had indicated you're not going to have a sidewalk cafe right away, and now it sounds like you will?
no, that's not accurate.
Okay.
What happened was we met with the community board.
Are you here in opposition?
Not in opposition, but
Okay.
since I'm here, I
Okay.
clarify if necessary.
Okay, go ahead. That's good that you let him know you're here, because now he can't say anything.
In January or February of this year, I can't remember which one, we met with the community board. At the committee meeting, we had provided all plans, including our sidewalk cafe. To back up for a second, this is a transfer of an existing restaurant.
understand that.
With the exact same sidewalk cafe.
Right.
We submitted the plans with the sidewalk cafe, with everything, and the committee notified me verbally right there that they, correct me if I'm wrong, will not entertain sidewalk cafes with the initial application.
Okay.
And that we would have to come back to them with the sidewalk cafe application, because that gets passed on, Department of Consumer Affairs notifies them.
Say that again?
Department of Consumer Affairs notifies the.
Oh, that there's an application, okay.
Right. So what we did was agree to, and it's Frank's handwriting actually on the application that says, not at this time. for the
Right.
Sidewalk cafe. We never agreed to that. In fact, very shortly, I think it was April, we were back before the community board with our sidewalk cafe plans.
Okay. And where are they now with that? Do you know where they are with that?
Yes, we have a difference of opinion as to what is allowed by law at a sidewalk cafe. We've asked the Department of Consumer Affairs to conduct some measurements to see what's
So it's really just a measurement issue, it's not going to be an approval issue?
correct.
Meaning you're going to approve it, it's just a question of how big it is?
Correct.
Okay. Right. So then if I approve it right now, it's not that big a deal?
Subject to whatever.
Right, okay.
And we're perfectly happy with whatever the Department of Consumer Affairs gives us.
And then your stipulations otherwise are all in place,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
You would agree to our hours and everything, right, for those?
Yes, of course, February.
Okay. All right, well then I'm good. So I'm going to approve the sidewalk cafe, subject to whatever you work out with the community board on the size of it. This is a transfer, the old licensee had a sidewalk cafe. You're asking for recorded music, no dancing, 20 tables, 40 seats. Principals will manage. And your owners have experience and no negative history, so, or if they do, minimal negative history, and it's not really negative history. So based on that, I'll approve and find that it is in the public interest. And the hours are in the stipulations. The community board stipulations are part of the license.
I'll approve under those same stipulations as well, and just got to get that clarified, your measurements for the outdoor area. All right.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Don't go too far. Mr. Palillo, 1075 Baja Lounge Corp.
Can we discuss this one for a second?
Yeah.
This is a improper notification. I can't understand why it is so high at 1,500. I understand that if the licensee had a good record, it would be 500. If the licensee doesn't have a good record, it's 1,000.
Yeah, I think that's all it should be, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
All right, 1,000. Oh, this is one of our new attorneys, so she may have just been, she's literally been here for three weeks.
I met her, she's very nice.
All right, so I'll counter, or $1,000.
1,000 it is.
And you're okay with that?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, of
Okay.
course I am.
But you're talking
Just
to me.
checking.
No, I want to spend more.
I'm not going to call you next item now. so.
Frank looks like-
1080 Grand Street Restaurant, Inc.
It's an often compromise, I think it's signs and codes.
Yeah, I'll accept.
3,000 accept.
Thank you.
Take care.
The next item is 1024 El Padrago Restaurant Corp.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Members of the board. The licensee.
You just note your.
I'm sorry?
Name.
Note your
My name
first-
is Teddy Gonzalez, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the licensee didn't receive the notice of pleading. The notice that he actually sent to the business was returned back to the liquor authority. Somehow they sent also a notice to to the resident where he lives, and it was commingled with somebody else's mail.
So how'd you get here?
How? Eventually, the person that got it gave it to him, but the date had already passed. The person was on vacation when he got the mail and gave it to him. The licensee hasn't had an adverse history since 2010, no penalties, nothing. And it's been there over 20 years now. So we're actually sending it back to legal.
Well, is he going to, no, I'm not going to send it back to legal because he got it. Is he fixed all this stuff?
Yes, he has.
So he's got licensed security guards?
Yes.
Fixed the blocked exits?
Yes, he did, sir.
Changed the trade name back, or at least filed for a new one?
Filed for the new one, yes.
And no DJs, right?
No.
Is that what the,
There's no DJ.
I'll give you 4,000, fine.
We accept that. Thank you.
What about the Department of Health summonses, the rat activity and contaminated
Yeah,
ice?
that was addressed.
Well, if it isn't, make sure it is, because if he comes back here with the security guards or the conformed application, he's probably going to lose a license.
Okay, thank you.
Would you say, Chairman, 4,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
The next item is 1127D, Cappy's Warehouse Wine and Spirits, Inc. And you want to pull out all the related, it's also 1127E, Henry Street Liquors, Inc. 1127F, Henry Street Liquors, Inc. And are you also on Wheatley Hills?
Wheatley, yeah, they're,
Yeah, that's
it's a combined offer.
1127C.
So C, D, E, and F.
D, C, D, E, and F, yes.
So we have 2 Henry Streets, 1 Wheatley, 1 Cappy's. Good afternoon, Francis Buscemi for the licensees. This is comprised of actually 3 letters, just to make sure we're on the same page. There was an initial letter of December 16th, then a follow-up amending some things May 9th, and then on May 17th clarifying some and adding some other points.
Which specific case are you starting out with here?
They're all the
We're
same.
going alphabetical order?
I mean, they're all the same, really.
Yeah, I'd
so.
like to address them. It's a combined offer. We sat down, we've had extensive discussions and coming up with something that we believe is fair and will work. And we'd
I do
ask that the
appreciate
author-
that, obviously, counsel.
Thank you. And council was helpful in.
So I don't, I mean, I'm familiar with, I think I have an understanding of what went on here, and I think it probably was going on a lot longer than we even thought. But the 2 things that are really problematic to me is, one, and I don't know whether it's this family or I have no idea what to attribute it to, but I've never seen bigger liars in my life. Even when they got caught, they continued lying and denied it.
I don't,
Well, I mean, the son blatantly told our investigators he was not an employee of one of his father's store, yet he's on the payroll. That's not lying? And then he said, well, I got nervous.
I don't,
I mean, that-
I don't know that, look, I don't want to argue the points, Mr.
Well, I
Chairman.
mean,
but
so
don't know
this
that
is my
I don't know
point,
that
is
that was the
we
case,
probably should have took a store here, we're not. If this continues, and I have a feeling it probably will, we'll have people, I'll have somebody sit there for a week and take pictures. And if this continues again, all the stores are going. Not one, so you might as well go right to hearing, don't even offer anything, I'm gonna take all of them. Because I have a pretty good idea who's running this show for them, and I have a pretty good idea what his attitude is based on talking to the investigators about it. So if this continues, and I hope it doesn't, then we're going to be in a completely different area. But I'll accept the offers on all of them.
So let me understand this, is it's 50,000 on C, 50,000 on D, 200,000 on E, and 200,000 on F.
Combined, E and F. I believe E and F is Henry Street. Those
It's
two are
200,
combined for 200.
That's not how it was presented to the members.
Is it
Well, that's-
100
It should be
apiece?
200,000
That's-
for Henry Street.
So 100 each case?
However it wants to be split.
Yeah, but we don't, any way you want to break that
Okay.
So
up. But
100,000,
it's,
okay.
Henry Street is at 200, and
Yeah,
each
why-
of the other stores is at 50.
That's just for paper, why don't we do it?
However, Tom, that's,
So I'll
Since
just,
there's only 3 charges on the one, so let's do 30,000 on
can.
that one
Okay.
and 170 on the other one, so that we're not going over the maximum penalty.
okay. So 1127E, Henry Street Liquors will be 30,000, and 1127F, Henry Street Liquors will be 130,000.
Got
And
it.
the other two will be 50 each. Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
That was, what, 4 years, 3 years?
It's been a long time, a long time.
Next items, 1078, 1079, Home Run KTV Inc. It's just one item on your calendar.
Well, the two?
Well, it's one agenda sheet, you have 2 items, 1078, 1079.
So the first proceeding, sustain 1, sustain 2, dismiss 3, sustain 4, dismiss 5. The second proceeding, sustain 1, 2, and
If
3,
I-
and
if I
dismiss
could-
4. Yep. Go ahead.
I want to bring out, I mean, look, you have my controversy in case 110394 with regard to, especially with regard to charge 1. I just don't see how this is suffering or permitting. There was, a patron was found in a karaoke room with possession. There was no visual use, et cetera, et cetera. I'm
Well,
not going to belabor that.
I think the ALJ found that it was suffering permitting because, one, they were clearly on notice given the previous case that went to the appellate division and they won. And you might argue that, well, there was no test done on the substance, and that might be. But the bottom line is that that was drug paraphernalia it was in. So they did nothing, they didn't change their security, they did nothing to try to prevent that from happening again.
Well, but again, I just want you to, it's not related to any employees.
Well, it is to the extent that the only place the security guard was on the street. There was nobody on the second
Well,
floor.
he's at,
No
he's
cameras.
downstairs at the door. But people are searched coming in. We're talking, and I just want, so it's
I know
clear.
it. I am familiar with it.
We're talking about something the size of like a nickel or a quarter, at most. Anyone, anywhere, any place, that substance could be secret. It could be secret in any arena, in Yankee Stadium, right here.
Yeah, but
anywhere.
Yankee Stadium, you guys must be huge Yankee fans, because I got an argument with your partner 2 weeks ago about the Yankees. That ended up in the paper, for God's sakes.
Madison,
My point is, though, all of those places, and the key thing is...
Anywhere.
Correct, but
can't stop it.
every example you brought up has cameras everywhere. And the ironic thing to me is that they have multiple rooms in this place, and they don't have a camera anywhere. They don't want to see. The doors are shut. there's women there that arguably are operating as prostitutes, but we have no evidence of that, and they have no interest in checking anything.
There are windows in the doors.
There's nobody checking anything. The security guard's on the street. Who's checking the doors?
Researching. Look, I just wanted to point out, it was not employees. It's a minute amount that was found. No one even saw any type of use. There was no allegation that it was even in use. It was simply a matter of possession of an extremely small quantity of powder on
It doesn't take a lot.
patron. I just want to, the only other thing I want to say is on the second case, and I just think this is just patently unfair, is the trade name violation. This was part of a prior case, and that's charge 1 in case 110704. This was part of a prior case. We moved to correct this. I took the license into the New York State Liquor Authority after the first case to have the trade name put on that license. Prior counsel, Jacqueline Flug, contacted the License Bureau and would not permit them to put the trade name on the license. I personally had to take the license back. I emailed on October 27th of 2015 to Ms. Flug, as well as to Kerry O'Brien, who was, I believe, the licensing commissioner at the time, explaining, and my email says that on October 20th of 2015, I bought the license certificate of Home Run KTV to the Liquor Authority to add the trade name.
Do you have that email?
Yes, certainly. I put it in as an exhibit in this case, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I mean, it's still arguably a violation, but I see your point. So I'm not criticizing the ALJ. I'm just wondering if I can give you a little.
What else is the licensee to do?
I had it in my notes here that
Okay.
that I agree that one should be,
All right, so we're going to dismiss second proceeding charge 1. Everything else is the same. You have a number on this?
You want to?
Does 10,000 sound fair?
Yep, 10,000, given their past history.
All right, have a good day.
See you.
Frank, you want to talk to me, and we'll take care of that trade name after?
Yeah, now
Send
they're
me
on
an email.
note. Now if it happens again, there's no pass.
Let me put it on.
He got his pass.
Let me put it on. All right.
I won't say no.
All right. The next item's 1127, 12 First Avenue Restaurant Corp.
Good morning. Terrence Flynn on behalf of the licensee. This is an offer of compromise to resolve the charge.
I'll accept.
1127. This was an accept. Yeah, 7,500 accept.
Next item after that is 1056, KD Incorporated. Thank you.
This is also an offer of compromise to resolve the charges.
I'll accept.
$10.56, right?
Yes.
Is that roll down gate situation corrected?
I'm not certain, to be honest with you. They told me they were going to correct it, but I don't know if it's been done yet.
All right.
I will tell them.
I'll accept the 4,500.
You have another one?
Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, you too.
The next item is 1087, Entre Amigo Restaurant and Bar Corp.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good afternoon, actually.
So you want to put your name on the record?
Aurelia Tavares, the representative for Jimmy Marine, the owner of Entre Amigos Restaurant and Bar Corp.
So we're sustaining charge 1 with sale to minor.
Yeah.
6,000.
He accepts he's here. Just want to put on the record, he's changed security guard companies, and all the staff is being re-ATAP certified. So this never happens again.
Okay. Good.
And I have,
Of the 6,000, Commissioner Ford?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the guy, despite security, still got in okay. So, yeah, I'd get a new security company, too.
yeah, very upset about that.
All right.
The next item is 1118. This was the matter that was held over. It was a bad check case. I was contacted by Ms. Tavares after the last full board meeting. The licensee thought that they had submitted payment. It turns out that a check was submitted, but there was no reference on the check. We had no idea what it was for, so we sent it back to Bank of America. So the money is still outstanding.
We have the certified funds here. You don't accept it today, right? I'd have
Yeah,
to mail it out
downstairs,
too.
we will, right?
I'll take it. if it's
You'll
gonna-
take it?
Yeah, that's for the license.
License end of it, I'll
Yeah.
take care of that.
Wait, that's for the what?
That's the replacement.
Yeah,
funds
right.
for the
So
license.
now we can reconsider
Now you get to the penalty.
but this was put over, okay.
It was put over the.
I thought I already canceled it,
No, we.
but I didn't. All right, what is that usually, 500? Jackie, 500 usually? Yeah, 500.
Yes, that's fine.
500.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. It's not really.
I don't have anything else
Business,
signed
right?
in. Are you here for something, Mr. Levy?
The update on litigation? We can do that one. What number is it, do you know? Billy
yeah.
Billy Marks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one is that, what number?
1094.
I think the members can see the memo from counsel's office.
Yes, so the
Um,
cancellation, I vote that the cancellation should be rescinded and the charge dismissed.
Same here.
Which is what the appellate division indicated.
Well, no, it was just at the Supreme Court.
Oh, I'm sorry, the
It's
Supreme
okay.
Court.
Yeah.
Anything else, Tom?
Well, so you're voting not to appeal?
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct.
Jack, you might, normally, would we bring that back to the board? The disciplinary, or just do it as part of this?
It would be part of it, no,
Okay.
it'll be all part
all
of
right.
this. You don't
So
need
just going
to
to accept the council's office recommendation?
Correct.
I have nothing else signed.
All right, I
in.
want to take 5 minutes.
Yes.
After speaking with my client, there was a reason why they waited to apply for the new method of operation. He'd like to explain
Okay.
why it was.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, one of the guys we worked with for application, the first one that they gave us until 11 p.m. and
Say that again, the first one they what?
the
Just talk in the microphone, I can't hear you.
the license that they gave us until 11 p.m. We originally applied for at least 4 a.m. or 2 a.m.
I'm sure.
And
And then whoever you came to here limited it.
yes, sir. And they granted us 11 p.m. and we asked the person that who helped us for application. I mean for extension. He had said that you need to wait for a certain period of time.
Right.
But we really want to extend it because 11 p.m. really hurts the
But do you
business.
see that, and he was right in saying that, but do you see that you didn't wait for the period? You just started doing it. You started having music, you started having karaoke before we approved it, and then you kept doing it.
The karaoke, I think it's part of the 11 p.m. License, Mr. Chairman.
You're supposed to be closed at 11. You were open at 3:45 on one day. You're supposed to be closed at 11, you're open at 2:35 another day. You're supposed to be closed at 11, you're open at 1:15 a.m. Then a month later, you're open at 3:30 a.m. I mean, you're not even close. I mean, this isn't a question in my mind whether you violated it or not. It's a question, you never would have gotten the extension of your hours had I been aware that this was going on, and I wasn't. So now, in order for you to come back a year from now and ask for another extension of hours, I'm asking you to go back to 11 and prove to me you can. If you don't want to go back to 11, don't. And we're going to go to hearing, and then you're liable to lose your license.
Is this the liquor license or the beer and wine?
It's everything. Beer, wine, liquor.
Both of them?
Well, you can't serve anything. Just like 11 means 11, no liquor means no liquor.
Okay.
There's no way, I'm sorry, just to interject, there's really no way, you know, they were issued this and they were.
I know they were issued it, but I'm telling you that it was a mistake made, and I'm blaming myself for the mistake, but the bottom line is, had I known of all of this, it never would have happened. And I didn't know about it. And part of it is because it takes time for this stuff to get in our computer system, and while this was getting reviewed, that got missed. But there's no way this would have been approved by anybody had they been aware that these charges were pending.
It's only because, you know, by taking this away now, it would really, really hurt their business. And
Well, I mean, it would hurt them a lot more if he goes to hearing and I take the license away.
Of course.
It would kill the business.
Of
So,
course. All right, then. He just wants to say a few more things while we're here.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the time. At first, the business, we are not trying to do things intentionally. Most of those times that we stayed up late, some of our friends are spend their birthdays there, and it's like a private party, and we really some of the bars who surrounds us, they close at 4 a.m. and we just want to make business and promote the restaurant, especially the local artists, the bands that we are working with, because we also have a production.
I get what you want, you just aren't going to be able to do it for a year. That area, I get more complaints about Roosevelt Avenue in Queens than any area in New York City.
But we
And now, it looks like, at a minimum, based on what I'm seeing in front of me, the New York City Police Department has had to visit your location on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 separate times in a year, just because you were open past when you were supposed to be. Don't you think they have something better to do?
I think that's.
And if your friends are having birthday parties, then they're not past when you're supposed to close, then I don't know how good friends they are, because it's your business, not theirs. And you're the one who's going to lose it.
Yeah. My notes are one more violation after hours and it'd be canceled. We're done.
Well, no, his hours got extended, so we're taking them back. You're back to, I mean, if you accept this, you're back to 11. I'll lift the suspension. You don't have the 5-day suspension, but you're back to 11. There's no live music, there's no DJ, and there's no karaoke. You can have background music.
So you said it would be just the penalty, no 5 days.
No 5-day
No 5-day
suspension.
suspension, okay. And back to 11.
And there's.
And then in a year, come back to me. If you have none of these issues that are in front of me now, then I'll give you what you asked for initially. But it has to come here.
Settlement of 20, there's still the $20,000.
Still 20, but no
Okay,
5-day
no 5-day
suspension, but you close at 11 every night. No live music, no karaoke, and no DJ. And you're a restaurant, aren't you?
A restaurant and a bar.
Yeah, so you don't, you're supposed to be a restaurant.
All right, what do you, you'd ask more than me.
I mean, you've only been open since November 2015. You've rung up 20 charges in that length of time. That's a busy year.
It sure is.
I think you're probably the first license that came in front of me that I signed.
I've, what do you? I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Well, if you don't accept it now, you'll get a letter. That's the board's counteroffer. So you'll get a letter saying, here's the proposal.
Yeah.
You've got 20 days to make a decision, otherwise it's going to go back to council
Okay.
to prosecute.
But it's not getting better than that. So if you don't accept it, then it goes to council and they'll do a hearing.
Basically, we have 20 days
Yes.
to decide.
Yes.
Okay, that would be good.
So you got it, Tom?
Yep.
Okay. So you'll get a letter that lays that out.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care.
You too.
Yeah, we're going to recall item 1107, Adirondack Winery LLC. This was heard at the beginning of the meeting.
So, and Jackie, I understand you have been in contact with the applicant?
Yes, both applicants, the husband and wife, and they're willing to pursue the application. They're fully aware of the restrictions for sale of only New York State wine.
Okay, well, that was my only concern, is that they were not aware of those restrictions. They clearly are, based on your conversation or emails with them. There are protests, but I don't see how this business is going to affect any of the people that are protesting, so I'm going to vote to approve.
The only protest is from the one that was 7.9 miles away. The one furthest away, the one 200 feet away, didn't. So anyway, but they're only going to be selling New York State wines.
Probably mostly their own.
That they make their own, yep, yeah.
Although they are eligible to sell any New York State-made wine.
Yep, I approve as well.
Thank you.
I don't have any other items signed in, so we can proceed to the rest of the calendar.
Okay.
Ready? 1017, 1018.
I'll accept.
Accept.
1021.
Accept.
It's a
1021 is a default.
Oh, cancel and bond, I'm sorry.
1021 for sale of minor.
Oh, wait, I got 1022, I'm sorry.
It's 3,000. I got
Yes,
1021.
3,000.
1022.
Accept, cancel, and bond.
Cancel and bond.
You made 1022 feel better now. 1021. 1023.
Accept.
Accept.
1025.
Should we bring them in for this? Inside fight, patron cut with broken beer bottle.
Okay.
So what do you mean?
Defaulted. They didn't bother showing up then.
So you can either bring them in or cancel them.
Cancel.
I'll get their attention.
Then now they'll be in.
That'll get their attention, right?
Cancel then, cancel and bond.
Yep.
1026.
Speakers outside pointing at residences.
So they've already done remediation measures to remediate the problem. They lowered the volume. They point the speakers away from the buildings, and the music ends at 9:30. So I'll actually go, based on their request, down to 2,500. They're in here again, though. They're getting the max.
2,500.
1027.
So 20-year-old, so 6,000.
6,000.
1028.
Six months.
Doesn't really matter.
They want to call it a day? That's their offer?
Yeah, they got a transfer.
Oh. Yeah. Cancel and bond?
Cancel and bond.
1029.
Accept.
Accept.
1030.
Just so the members know, there's a method of operate filed to add recorded music, DJ, jukebox, and security. Would you?
Where, on this one?
Yeah. Would you like that to come to the full board?
Yes, bring it to the full board. I'll accept the 3,500.
Okay.
That was for 10:30, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
All set with that?
Yes.
Okay, 1031.
Accept.
Accept.
1032.
Accept.
Accept.
1033.
I'm going to dismiss charge one because I think that there was some confusion about the change in hours and when the law actually went into effect. And it looks like this guy thought that when the governor signed it, it went into effect.
I had 3,000 possibly.
I have two. 2,500?
2,500.
1034.
Accept.
Accept.
$10.35.
Cancel and bond.
Yeah, this is blatant fraud. 1035, cancel and bond.
10.36.
3,000.
3,000.
10.37.
3,000.
What did I have 3,500. Why did I do that?
You add 5 and subtract 5.
So 3,000, okay.
It's a 18-year-old, but they have no history for 5 years, so.
All right. 3,000 is.
1039.
Cancel for the record.
Cancel.
With the charges being sustained and dismissed as per the ALJ?
Yes, I'm sorry. Sustain 1, 2, 3, 4, dismiss 5, sustain 6 and 7, dismiss 8. Cancel for the record.
Good to go with that, Commissioner?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
1040.
500?
Yes, 500.
1041.
Accept.
1,000, accept.
1042, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Cancel and bond. I'll accept the cancel and bond, but do a location stop and a name stop.
Cancel and bond.
1047.
What's the prior failure to conform? Do we know? Is it the cabaret?
1047.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading 1048 again.
I'll look up the next one.
I don't have 1047.
1047 is a improper conduct on tax cigarettes case.
3,500.
3,500.
1048.
Looking it up.
1048.
So the failure to conform to the application, is that the same as the unlicensed cabaret or no?
Yes, I think it is.
I'm talking about the previous one that was from
Maximum occupancy.
April.
It was for maximum occupancy.
It was for maximum occupancy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give you a second.
All right, so I'll accept.
4,000, accept.
1049.
Accept.
1,500 accept. Sounds like an isolated incident. Management did cooperate.
1050.
Accept.
2,000 accept.
1051.
Accept.
Accept.
1052.
Cancel and bond, the bouncer punched a customer and then lied about it, and they never called the PD.
For the club?
Cancel and bond.
1053.
Accept.
Accept.
1054.
I don't know.
1053.
I didn't understand this. Chris, do you know this? She stole the benefit cards or her employee did?
I'm looking right now.
There's a lot of this EBT stuff going on.
Yeah, there is a lot.
Because it looks like she,
It looks like she did.
Yeah, it's the licensee.
Yes, licensing.
so we can't, does she have relief?
She pled to misdemeanors.
Oh,
Right.
cancel and bond.
1054, cancel and bond, all right.
1055.
I'll accept, although they're not getting the message, so
Yeah, the food issue.
one more and that's that.
4,000 accept, yes.
1057, 1058.
I'll accept.
1057, 58. Revokals. I'll accept.
1060.
Accept.
1060, accept, 6,000.
1062.
Accept.
Just one quick on the 1060. I just want to say, their prior sale of minor, the principal's applying for a grocery store in addition to a liquor store.
Say that again,
The principal's applying for a grocery store.
Right now?
In addition to the liquor store, yeah, and so now we're going to have two penalties that haven't been satisfied yet. The first one, I know it's in the non-calendar form, we can, just requesting that get moving, so see if he's inclined to pay his $9,500 fines before we give him.
Oh, the first one is not related to this license? Or he's getting another license right now?
He's applying for a secondary license.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a grocery store. Just wanted them to get paid.
1062.
Accept.
Accept.
1063.
Accept.
7,500 accept.
1064.
I'm going to counter 4,000. These are,
1064?
oh, I'm sorry. Where the hell? Pardon my French.
That's Gaelic, actually.
I must have already.
It's been attached to the other
They
one.
get stuck sometimes.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
I'll accept.
8,000 accept for 1064.
1065. You're going to counter with 4,000, aren't you?
Yes, counter it with 4,000.
1065, you're countering with 4,000. Okay.
1066.
Accept.
Accept.
1067.
This is a CNC. I'll accept.
7,500 accept.
1068.
Accept.
Cancel and bond, accept.
1070.
Accept.
Accept.
1071.
Accept.
Cancel and bond, accept.
1072.
Accept.
500 accept.
1073.
Accept.
Accept.
1074.
Counter 7,000. They have a previous sale to minor.
1073. Is that what you said?
1074.
1074 is when you know it. Oh, yeah, all right.
Should have been a 7,000.
I think this was one of those ones where when they scrolled onto it, they didn't see the prior.
The prior.
Okay, 7,000 counter.
7,000.
1076.
Revoke and bond.
Yeah.
Licensee died in 1997, been forged for years. Revoke and bond, yep.
Unreal.
1081.
Unreal.
1081,
Revoke for the record. No bond available.
says plus bond claim, or what?
No,
We already, we're already getting the bond.
All right.
1082.
Reconsideration is granted. You can cash the check. And the cancellation is extinguished.
Granted, cancellation extinguished, okay.
1083.
They need to reapply. I'm not going to reconsider this. There's too many conflicting statements by the applicants. They can reapply.
And the loss was 5,000, not 50,000. If they reapply, will this same number be attached to it, I mean, as a over or something like that? or-
No.
No, it'd be a brand-new
No.
application, but any of these records would be part of it. It would have to come to you anyway.
You'll get all the background information.
Okay.
There's just too many inconsistencies. They need to straighten that out.
Okay.
'Cause there'll be a written decision with this.
Yep.
That I'm sure will be in the license if
All
it
right.
comes up to you again.
Thank you.
1085.
Sustain 1 and 2, fine 3,000.
3,000.
1088.
Sustain 1, 3,000.
3,000.
1089.
Sustain 1, cancel and bond.
Surrendered 317, yeah, cancel the bond.
1090.
Had a question here. If they collected a less amount, would that change things if it wasn't as,
I think that the amount is so high that it's hard for us to even to get to that point. I think as written and as requested in this particular instance, looking at the way in which the declaratory rulings have looked previously, there's very little question here, I think, in counsel's office, that we would ask that a declaratory ruling disapproving this proposed method of operation be issued.
Yeah, and I agree with that based on that scenario, but also, I had a question, which obviously they can't answer, but maybe you can, in case they're watching this, if they are going to reapply. If the coupon or the certificate's never redeemed, who keeps all that revenue? Then they get 100%,
Then they get 100%
correct?
of it, right?
Which is problematic as well, so. All right, yeah, so this, I'm not going to approve this declaratory ruling.
I deny as well.
1092.
Sustain 1, dismiss 2, 3, and 4, cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1095.
2,000.
2,000.
1096.
Accept.
1,500 accept.
1097.
I'll accept 2,000.
2,000
This was
accept.
for opening earlier than 5? Is that what's going on here? Do they need to be,
It was opening earlier than 5, and they had a DJ, but they had an application that didn't have a box on it for a DJ.
yeah. I was
So
gonna
they
say-
can't really,
But I was going to say, do you want them to be advised that if they're going to
Yeah.
open, they need to file
yeah, and they probably should file something that they are going to have a DJ too, if you want to send a letter. I mean, just so they don't end up in this mess again, because
Well,
our
John, you know,
investigators will go
sometimes it would
write them
be-
up.
when I was sitting over there, it would be licensee is hereby warned that any changes would, you may wish to file
Right.
a method of operation change.
Correct.
Just kind of give them a heads up.
1098.
Sustain 1, 3,000.
1,000.
1099.
Sustain 1, dismiss 2, sustain 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, dismiss 9. Where's the summary? Is that still in
I think
effect?
it's still in effect.
And what are those charges?
I believe they're violence, if I remember, but that's off the top of my head. Look. Oh, let me see. Oh, there's actually a
Focal point,
focal
noise,
point.
nuisance,
Yeah,
extension
yours is
of
going
ground.
faster than mine.
Did that
Yep.
get stayed, or are they still closed?
No, it's still closed. There's a significant number of charges on this.
Cancel and bond.
Yeah, cancel and bond, that's it.
1104.
Counter at 6,000.
Counter at 6,000. So, woman and husband were licensed premises, couple stood up to go dancing, dance. By the time they got back to their table, the woman's wallet was missing. So did she file something? I want to know, how did this get here? I mean,
Called the
was there a police
police.
complaint or something, or?
Yeah, it's a referral.
Okay. Does it say anywhere that it's a referral? Did I miss that?
Well, it would most likely be a referral, because we either get our cases from our investigators
Yeah.
or from police reports.
It's a police referral that was,
Is yours coming
Okay,
first?
all right. I just have that thought sometimes. All right,
And I'm going, because it's their second failure to conform to the application, so I'm making a counteroffer at 6,000.
6,000 it is.
1105.
Accept.
Accept.
It's a default,
Oh, it is?
1105.
Oh, I'm sorry, hold
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry, how did we get an offer on that?
No, we don't, that's a typo.
So 3,000.
You're correct, I'm sorry.
No, there was no offer, right?
No, we tell you, that's a typo, I missed it when I reviewed the papers.
So it was a default or it wasn't?
It is.
Okay, so 3,000, fine.
I love this, no ID, I shouldn't sell it, but what's your birthday? She tells him, and he goes, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
All right,
1109. That's the Grubhub one?
That's been pulled.
That's been pulled.
Correct.
Okay.
hold us in
1110.
Held over.
over, thank you.
It was held over?
Yes.
Okay. I'll accept 1110.
where's it, where'd it go? 1110, accept.
1111.
This is the one that I want back,
Yeah, okay. Well, do we need it back, or can I just counter?
unless the counter is cancellation.
Okay, then you can have it back.
Thank you.
11 is coming
Yes.
back, is that it?
Yes, that's a request from counsel's office.
All right.
1112.
3,000.
3,000.
1114.
Sustain 1, 2, 3, and 4, cancel and bond. Selling drugs.
Cancel and bond.
Because he is a applicant, the principal has a new application pending, we're waiting for this decision.
No selling drugs, okay? Remember that.
Yeah.
1115.
3,500.
3,500.
1116.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1117.
Accept.
6,500 accept.
1120.
Letter of warning.
20 letter of warning.
1121.
Counter of 4,000. Unless, hold on a minute.
We dispute the warning signs. I would go 2,000 on this one.
You're gonna go 2,000 or or accept their offer?
Oh, I see, 2,000. I'll accept their offer.
I'll accept it.
1122.
Counter at 6,000 because of the cabaret
6,000 counter for 1122.
and the DJ.
1123.
6,000.
6,000.
1124.
2,500 because of their history. They're heading on their way. They're on their way out.
This was another one where I don't think the prosecutor knew about the history because there was like closed cases, and you had to scroll up to see everything, so.
Okay. Well, 2,500 counter.
1125.
Accept.
5,500 accept.
1127A and B.
What about 1127? Straight. Did we do that one already? First.
Yes, we did it.
Yeah, we did that one.
1 and 1, huh?
Yes.
A and B, cancel and bond, I'll accept.
I have no other items on the calendar. I do have the minutes of the last meeting and the
That hotel file.
proposed decisions.
Yeah, I've reviewed the decisions and I approve them, and the minutes I approve as well.
Approve as well.
Okay. I don't have any other items before the members unless Chairman, Commissioner, you have anything?
Nope. Or adjourned.
Then we are adjourned, yes.